and miles of trails. And parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, the Chiefs making Harrison Butker the NFL's highest paid kicker, signing him to a 4-year, $25 million extension, nearly $18 million guaranteed, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. A silver medal today for American gymnastics superstar Simone Biles in the floor final, her 4th medal in Paris, 11th of her Olympic career. As the U.S. men's basketball team gets ready to face off against Brazil in the quarterfinals tomorrow, they're leaning into their mantra, keep it simple and stay with your identity. The Americans 3-0 in Paris with 3 different leading scorers each game, 10 players averaging at least 7 points a game. Point guard Steph Curry.
Everybody has to be ready for your moment whenever it is. And I think that's it's a challenge because, again, you don't know from quarter to quarter, from game to game, who it's going to be. And yeah, it's a fun way to play if you're bought into, like, let's just win the basketball game. After that, who cares what it looks like?
Steph Curry, Team USA is 3 wins away from capturing a 5th straight gold medal.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, Jim Harbaugh is back. Justin Herbert is already hurt. I'll tell you if the Chargers fans should already be worried about their season. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Tigers back on the practice field. We got a Saints camp report, Michigan in hot water. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Monday, Tigers were back on the practice field outdoors in Shell, so helmet, shoulder pads. Media got about 90 minutes worth of viewing, and we did get to see a whole lot. So I'll sort of empty the notebook on Monday's practice and tell you the high points and everything we saw. First of all, a couple of absences that were notable. Defensive tackle Jalen Lee, defensive end Braden Swinson, they continue to be absent. A word there is they're finishing up coursework. We'll see when they're back out there. But in the meantime, the defensive tackle rotation has been consistent, and we've seen Deshaun Womack step up with Swinson out. So your ends have been Savion Jones and Paris Shand, and then Deshaun Womack has run with the twos along with Gabe Relaford as your second-team defensive ends while Swinson's out. That's what's bumped up. We told you last week, Shelton Sampson in that practice on Thursday kind of bumped his noggin and was a little woozy. He was back out there today, but was limited, not participating in every drill, but was out there in a good bit of what we got to see. Xavion Thomas also had his right leg sort of heavily wrapped, was out there, but limited in participation as well. During the course of practice, freshman cornerback Bernard Causey was tended to by trainers at one point, and also John Emery and Major Burns were tended to by trainers, but both did return to practice. So nothing serious right now on the injury front for LSU, at least nothing that we've been able to see as of this point. Maybe the most notable part of practice on Monday was the team 11-on-11 and they were running a 2-minute offense. So, and they were moving the football. So it was 2-minute offense, get up the ball and go and snap it. And the ones ran 8 plays. Now, some of the things that's notable, whenever we talked last week and I gave you the practice report, one of the things I told you is when we're looking at some of those receivers, like Chris Hilton wasn't targeted at all in the 7-on-7s a week ago on Thursday. Well, literally the first play of the 2-minute offense, they went deep to Chris Hilton down the right side. He made a beautiful catch. He dusted Juwan Johnson, the freshman, who with Major Burns out, Juwan Johnson was playing the star position. So right away, they went to Chris Hilton. It's just another example of the embarrassment of riches that they have in this receiver core, because on any given day, it feels like someone else could pop. Like on day one, where we saw Trey'Dez Green have an awesome day. Well, today, as we'll get through, Kamorian Pimpton was awesome. Chris Hilton was awesome. So it feels like there's just so much there for LSU offensively that on any given day, it could be someone else that pops. So who develops the consistency, I think, is going to be interesting. But this was notable. They ran 8 plays, the ones. And actually, on back-to-back plays, Kyle Parker had receptions on back-to-back plays, beating Sage Ryan and Jordan Gilbert. So, another young guy, getting in there, getting reps with the ones, rotating among the receivers and making plays. Well, they're going down the field. They get in a goal-to-go situation, and Garrett Nussmeier kind of pats the ball, delays a little bit, and throws one over the middle, and Ashton Stamps undercuts him and intercepts it, right at the goal line. It was a pass that was intended for C.J. Daniels, who was starting on the left side, working his way toward the middle. So it's kind of the thing we talk about with Nuss, right? It's, all the ability's there, you got to purge the bad play. And that was a bad play. In that situation, throw it out the back of the end zone, take a sack, eat it, whatever. Just don't throw the ball over the middle into traffic and got it picked like he did in that situation. For what it's worth, as I mentioned, with Major Burns out, Juwan Johnson was running first-team star, and your starting cornerbacks, again, were Sage Ryan and Ashton Stamps. So Sage Ryan continues to run at cornerback for LSU. When the twos went in that 11-on-11 period, Collins went first and then Swan. That's a flip from the last time we saw it. All screens and running plays. The last play with Ricky Collins was a low snap by Cohen Eccles that skidded away. When Swan went in, his last play was a nice pitch and catch to Trey'Dez Green for a nice gain. But that was the only time in that period that we saw Trey'Dez Green targeted. There was 2 more team periods. They were on the field that was farthest from us, so it was very difficult to see what was happening. But it was mostly looked like running plays, toss sweeps, check downs. They weren't really advancing the ball or pushing the ball downfield. It felt more like what we were talking about last week with 7-on-7s, where each rep starts from, like if you're starting at the 20 and you're just running plays and just you're running reps. So all things considered, during the team drill, the offense moved the ball, but the defense got the stop at the goal line. Let's see, a couple other things. We did get to see wide receiver corner reps. So, again, it was just line up and go, running different routes. The advantage is heavily toward the receiver there because it's just a wide receiver and a defensive back, and there's no help. And the receiver obviously knows his route. As I charted 25 reps, 16 of the 25 were completed passes. 6 of the incompletions I'd put on the quarterback as a bad throw. And only 1 real true pass breakup. And that was Michael Turner, the freshman, who was guarding Jelani Watkins, who made a really nice recovery on kind of an underthrown ball and knocked it away. No interceptions. But again, I mentioned Kamorian Pimpton. The 2 in that cornerback, receiver, pass catcher drill, the 2 biggest catches, the 2 most impressive plays were Kamorian Pimpton. One, he was being guarded by Austin Osbury, and he made a catch as he was sort of falling down toward the sideline. Great body control, great hands, made the catch. And then he flat froze Deshaun Spears on a double move. I mean, it was all like, Deshaun Spears just, when I say didn't move, literally he didn't move. He froze on a double move, and Pimpton went right by him. So really good day for the sophomore tight end, Kamorian Pimpton. A couple of other things we got to see. Offensive and defensive line drills. They ran a 3-on-3 drill, which was basically the defensive lineman trying to break through a double team. So it was an end, a tackle, and a linebacker against 3 offensive linemen. And then we also got to watch one-on-one pass rush reps. Of note in the 3-on-3, the double-team drill, Emory Jones got a pancake block, really nice pancake block on Kimo Makaneoli. Don McKinley had a good rep, splitting a double team. You hate to pick on a freshman, but Ethan Callaway had a really, really rough day today. And the coaches were kind of all over him, not only when he was on offense, but even whenever they were running scout defense. They'll have the offensive lineman line up as a scout defense, and some of the assistants were getting all over Ethan Callaway. Freshman, and just his fourth practice ever, it's going to be a challenge. Ori Williams had a rough rep as well. They made him run, run a lap after that. But again, they're going to be tough on these guys. They have a high standard. But then when the offensive line and defensive line were running through their pass rush reps, so imagine you've got the first team offensive line lined up, but it's just a one-on-one rep. And basically the rest of the line is lined up so you don't have unlimited space as a defensive player to run anywhere. So, for example, Will Campbell would line up and go against Savion Jones. And then Garrett Dellinger would line up and go against Jacoby and Guillory. And, and so on. You understand. They would just go right down the line. They ran 17 reps. The offense won 12. The defense won 5. The entire first-team offensive line won their reps. The most impressive win was Kalaj Cobbins, who beat Ethan Callaway so badly they kept making Callaway line up and go over and over again. And he kept getting beat. I think he just was getting more and more tired. JVR Suggs, the transfer from Grand Valley, had a really nice win against Bordelon. So I guess the way I would, if I were to condense Monday's practice, what I would say is the offense is still outpacing the defense. And I don't think that's going to be a great surprise to anybody. LSU's got a ton of talent on offense. They've got a veteran quarterback and all that sort of stuff, right? Tons of great athletes and pass catchers and the best offensive line in football. They should be better. The offense should be ahead of the defense right now. But what I will say is, given a low bar for the defense is improving. You are seeing the defense actually be competitive and win reps. I just mentioned the interception for Stamps at the goal line against C.J. Daniels. I mentioned, the one-on-one drills with the offensive and defensive line. Yeah, it was overwhelming, but this might be the best offensive line in football. And while if you just look at the starters, which won all 5 reps, after that, it was 5. It was 5-5, really, after the starters. So it was split offense and defense at once you got past the starters, really, or 7-5, I should say. For the offense. But my point is, especially when you get into the depth, it's so much more competitive. And I think what that speaks to is that LSU has recruited well, and they are developing young talent here through the program. Final note, we got to watch kick return and kickoff units today. Your returners on kickoff, again, Xavion Thomas would be back. He was back there, but he wasn't participating. So the way they lined it up, remember, there's 2 deep at all times. So you had Aaron Anderson, Javen Nicholas as the first returners with no Xavion Thomas back there. You had Caleb Jackson, Caden Durham as the second kickoff returners, and then you had Jelani Watkins and Josh Williams third. And then kicking off, it was all the guys you'd expect. It was you had Damian Ramos, you had Aiden Corbello, and then Peyton Todd was actually working working kickoff duty as well. Remember, Nathan Dybert tore his ACL in that A&M game where he was trying to make a tackle and tore his ACL. So he's still not. We haven't seen Nathan Dybert out there and don't know when he might return. But we can see about that. We'll get to speak to Brian Kelly on Tuesday and maybe ask for some of those updates, personnel updates. Then Joe Sloan meets with reporters on Wednesday. So a lot of availability this week as LSU rolls through camp. There's our Monday camp report. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, official beer of the New Orleans Saints. It's game week for the Saints, y'all. Hoodats on Saturday against Arizona for the first preseason game. You're going to be kicking your feet back, watching the black and gold. Make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Was down in New Orleans this weekend, had a great weekend for celebrating my wife's birthday. Went out afterwards, went to Piano Bar at Pado's, having a few ice-cold Bud Lights, listen to some good music. No matter what you're celebrating, it's always great to have some great Bud Light. So drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. All right, it's after further review, y'all. Let me knock out a quick break. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. When we come back, purple and gold to black and gold. There was a new face running with the ones at Saints Camp. I want to talk about it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Think about what I just said. I say it every day, but sometimes it could go in one ear, out the other. They're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. They'll send a technician out to the house. If the technician is 1 minute late, you don't come out of pocket 1 cent. They value your time. They value your money. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001. Love, shared 5-star Google reviews. Stefan Landrino sent this in, or I guess Stephen Landrino, I should say. Said, Gannon Irvin, the technician, did a great job. Knowledgeable, friendly, and quick. Arrived on time, was in and out. Would highly recommend. Another 5-star Google review. And remember, I tell you all the time, at River City's 1 Hour Air, they got more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor because for 40 years, they've been providing exceptional service to the greater Baton Rouge community. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Rev delivers our coverage live from Las Vegas starting Friday, August the 30th with Off the Bench and After Further Review, and continuing Sunday, September 1st with Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Our coverage is also presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Watch us live, 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Kick off the 2024 LSU football season live from Las Vegas with Rev, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We'll head out to L.A. to start Hour 3, visit with Ross Jackson, get a Saints camp report, as we do all throughout Saints camp. As a matter of fact, we got 11 more days. They're out in L.A. through August the 16th. Saints do have their first preseason game of this preseason coming up on Saturday. Another few days of camp brought a few more injuries. Peyton Turner missed practice with a toe, although he's got a toe. I don't know if you know he had a toe. Peyton Turner's got a toe.
Just one?
Just one.
Just one toe.
Got one toe.
Singular.
That's it. He's just got a toe. Peyton Turner's got a toe. Paulson Adebo missed practice with a groin. I don't know if you know, but Paulson Adebo's got a groin.
That's a good thing. He needs a groin.
You need a groin.
You need a groin.
What do you do if you don't have a groin? You're groinless.
You're groinless.
It's a problem. Kat Terrell tweeted this quote from Dennis Allen about the injuries, and they have been plentiful in this camp. I mean, it's literally every day there's been some notable player for the New Orleans Saints that's been injured. And it's, I guess, tangentially, it's interesting because we talked about the Saints going to camp in California, and there was this thought about, hey, the weather's nicer, the humidity's less, guys are going to be fresher, and the complete opposite has happened. I mean, and by the way, I do not correlate the camp injuries to being in California or Metairie or Jackson or Greenbrier or anything. I think it's just on guys getting themselves ready. Anyway, here's the quote from Kat Terrell. Dennis Allen said there's a point where they'll need to back off the team a little bit because of injuries. But he said it's important to, quote, build calluses for the regular season, end quote. Injuries come with that although the list is higher than he'd like right now. So, yeah, they're pushing him hard, and when you do that, you're going to have injuries, but he noted that the injury list is higher than they like. I think for a lot of these guys, Demario Davis having a soft tissue injury, Paulson Adebo with a groin injury, Marshawn Lattimore. A lot of these guys, you know they're Sunday players. Like, you know what they are when Sundays come. So just get them there. Just get them to week one. I'm not so interested in watching Marshawn Lattimore flip his hips in beautiful 70-degree weather at Cal Irvine. What I am interested in seeing is Marshawn Lattimore week one against Carolina in the Dome. Like, that's what I really want to see. There's great value in camp and preseason for a lot of guys. A guy we're about to talk about here in a second, Dallin Holker, there's a ton of value for it, as we're going to talk about. But when you know what Demario Davis is, and over the course of his career, he's never missed a game due to injuries. He missed one game in his entire career because of COVID. Like, I don't need to see Demario Davis at all in camp. Just I'll see you week one in the Dome against Carolina, and we'll be good. So I don't want to overreact to any of the injuries, but it is just a thing where you look and go, man, did they come not prepared? And I don't know the answer to that. I mean, only those players can answer that. But when you had Dennis Allen getting upset with Kendre Miller, right, for having a hamstring injury day one when you're going through walkthroughs, that speaks to not being prepared, not having your body ready to play. And I wonder if that's maybe a bigger part of this. As I referenced, one of the guys who is making the most of his opportunity is Dallin Holker. And the media that's present in Irvine on Monday noted that undrafted rookie free agent tight end Dallin Holker was taking reps with the first-string offense. Now, there was some roster shakeup for the New Orleans Saints over the weekend at tight end. They waived Jesper Horsted, and Tommy Hudson went to IR. So as a result, the Saints added 2 more tight ends. They signed Kevin Rader, who's played in 35 career games with 4 starts. Rader primarily with the Steelers. And then Mason Fairchild is a UDFA this year out of Kansas. So they've added those other bodies. My question specifically with Holker is whether or not Holker's taking reps with the ones because he's earned it, or is he taking reps with the ones out of necessity? Now, here was Dennis Allen meeting with reporters talking about Dallin Holker.
I think he's probably a little further along as a receiving tight end than he is as a blocking tight end. And so I'd say that's an area that he's got to continue to work on and improve. What I do see and feel is, kind of a smart, savvy football player that, although he may not have an elite skill set necessarily, he's got football awareness and football intelligence, and that allows him to find soft spots and zones and things of that nature. He's really good when the picture changes, so for a young guy, to be advanced in that way from a football intelligence standpoint, I think is pretty impressive.
It's worth noting, Dallin Holker's not exactly a young guy. He's 24 years old. So he started his college career in 2018 at BYU, and then he went on a 2-year Mormon mission, and then his last year of football transferred from BYU to Colorado State, where he became a second-team All-American and was a finalist for the Mackey Award, which, of course, was won by Brock Bowers. He was one of 3 finalists. So he was first-team All-Conference. He's a very good player and was a very good college player, and is also 24 years old and is just more advanced and experienced and mature because he's 24. I mean, he started his college career in 2018, man. I mean, remember the year when LSU opened up against Miami? That's when Dallin Holker started his college career. So, yeah, man, like I'm not surprised that he's a little more advanced and having some success right now because he's not your typical UDFA. I'll also remind you, the Saints felt really good about him when they signed him. They gave him $235,000 guaranteed, which was the highest dollar amount for a UDFA this year. So yes, I'm not surprised that Holker is making some waves here early. But it's also worth noting you've got Foster Moreau in camp, and Juwan Johnson is still recovering from offseason foot surgery. So after Morrow and Juwan Johnson, who else really do you have? I mean, you had Jesper Horsted. That wasn't popping. Tommy Hudson goes to IR. You've added a couple of new guys. It's not like Dallin Holker is stealing first-team reps from proven, established guys. I think they're maybe pushing to see what he's capable of doing at this point in his career because they made you lean on him. You heard DA say it there. Not as far along as blocker, much better as a pass catcher, which he certainly was very good at Colorado State and at BYU during his college career, but maybe an option in Clint Kubiak's offense where he does kind of like a more prototypical tight end, as we've talked about. He does resemble that more than, say, Juwan Johnson, who was a college wide receiver, at 6'6", at Penn State and Oregon, who then converted to sort of that pass-catching tight end once he got into the NFL. Just one worth keeping an eye on there is Dallin Holker was taking some reps with the ones on Monday out in Irvine with the Saints. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. True story. So I mentioned during the LSU camp report, if you've never been to LSU's practice field, so they've got 4 100-yard football fields, and they're parallel to each other. So it's basically 200 yards parallel to each other. And we had to look for one of the final 11-on-11 periods, the team periods. We were standing on one sideline, so we'd go across, 53 yards across, then the space between fields, and they were on that other field. And then we also had to kind of look over the defensive players. So I went to the end zone to look crossways. So I was actually probably looking, I don't know, literally 100 yards away, trying to chart one of the steam periods. And Cobble said, I got old man eyes. I can't see it. I was like, I've got Blake Williamson eyes. And he said, you should use that in the live read. I said, I absolutely will. So here you go. I got perfect vision, man. Better than 2020. Had my LASIK. If you're squinting to see or you're reaching for those readers or glasses or shoving contacts into your eyes, you want to be done with it forever, the Williamson Eye Center can help. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or go to williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. Hey, remember, you can always tweet us or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. One other quick note from Dennis Allen before we break. He did. Brian Brzee was last year's first-round pick, was one of those guys that was injured earlier in camp. It's come back. And Dennis Allen is singing the praises of the second-year defensive tackle. Give a listen.
What I've noticed is a guy that looks different. I think he's changed his body. I think he looks like he's in better shape than he was when he first got here last year. I see more lower body power, so there's more balance when he creates contact with a blocker. So he's able to play a little bit more physical, which I think is an area that he's got to improve on.
As much as the Saints have invested in the line of scrimmage at the top of the draft, and Penning, Fuanga, McCoy, Ruiz, Brzee, Turner, we all know the names. The Saints have invested heavily with top picks at the line of scrimmage. Foskey was a high second-round pick last year. You've had your hits and misses, and I think guys like Turner and Penning are probably leaning toward being misses. But Brzee flashed last year as a rookie at times. And it would be really nice to see him take that big second-year step. One of the guys that could be a key part of the Saints' run defense getting back to what it looked like when they set the record for consecutive games without allowing a 100-yard rusher. Maybe Brian Brzee will be a big part of that this year. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll come back, go around the SEC. And the coaches poll is out. Tell you what stood out to me. Tigers, preseason number 12. I'll tell you what else stood out. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Y'all get on by and see our friends at the Watermark. Hey, look, football season's almost upon us. If you got family coming in for football games this fall, make sure you tell them about the Watermark. It's Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. As a matter of fact, in the Best of 225, which just came out last month, the Watermark was voted by you the best hotel in Baton Rouge in the Best of 225. So, great way, man. Real close to campus. Stay downtown. You can brunch downtown. You can brunch at the Gregory right there inside the Watermark. There's walking distance to restaurants and bars, and the lobby bar at the Watermark is amazing as well. It's Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. Make sure you tell family and friends that are coming in town for football this season to stay at the Watermark Hotel. By the way, on football Fridays before home games, the LSU team stays at the Renaissance right there in Bluebonnet. So if the Renaissance is good enough for LSU before a game, it's good enough for you in your next event. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Coaches poll, top 25 out today for the preseason. Your Fighting Tigers of LSU, preseason number 12. No surprise there. I think that's probably where we all anticipated they would be. Georgia, number 1. Ohio State, number 2, followed by Oregon, Texas, and Bama. Of course, all of the top 5 there, and if you throw in Ole Miss at 6, the top 6 are all made up of the SEC and the Big Ten, Ohio State and Oregon from the Big Ten, Georgia, Texas, Bama, Ole Miss, all from the SEC. Notre Dame 7, Michigan, the defending champ at 8. I think that's a joke. More on that in a second. Penn State 9, Florida State 10, DJU, of course, the quarterback there now in Tallahassee. Missouri, LSU 11-12, Utah, Clemson, Tennessee at 15, Oklahoma, another SEC team there at 16, followed by Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Miami, Texas A&M at 20. Interesting to see A&M in the poll. Arizona, new coach there after Jed Fish leaves to become the new head coach at Washington. NC State at 22. Some people think might be a sleeper in the ACC this year. LSU season opening opponent USC at number 23. Kansas and Iowa round out the top 25. A couple takeaways, and let me know if you have any takeaways in the preseason top 25. I'm looking at the top 25 mostly in terms of bid stealing now for a 12-team playoff. I mean, the conferences have gotten so jumbled, it's not really even a flex anymore to say, oh, 9 teams from the SEC. Yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, Oregon's in the Big Ten. Who cares? I mean, the number 3 and 4 teams in the country are now in the Big Ten and the SEC from the Pac-12 and the Pac-12 and the Big 12. Like, whatever. I just don't think it's a conference flex anymore. I don't care. What I am interested in is bid stealers. And I don't know if you noticed, but I rattled off the top 25, and none of the top 25 in the preseason are from the group of 5. I scream about this all the time, every time it comes up. But there is no group of 5 team that is worthy of being gifted a playoff spot. It should not be so that you just grant the highest rated group of 5 team a playoff spot. If they're in the top 12, okay, you can play. But I don't want a reality where Western Michigan gets a playoff spot because they went undefeated against a crappy schedule. No, thank you. And so that worries me. Candidly, from an LSU perspective, where you're thinking, all right, Tigers, Vegas has them over under 9.5. What if they go to the over at 10-2? Well, they're going to be right there in the mix as a playoff at-large type team. Well, what if they're the last team there? And it's a bid stealing situation because Fresno State gets in as the highest ranked G5. That annoys me. The other is Notre Dame. And Notre Dame's in there at 7. Remember, Notre Dame's not in the conference, but so you have your 5 auto bids, the Power 4 conferences and a G5. Well, Notre Dame could certainly steal an at-large spot if they're in the top 12 and they're preseason number 7. So watching Notre Dame will be interesting. As much as I hate to say it, in Notre Dame against Texas A&M to open the season, you're kind of pulling for A&M. Because there aren't divisions anymore, and LSU can handle their business against A&M like you'll have a head-to-head. You really want teams ahead of you to be knocked down. You want Notre Dame not to have, and they're not going to have an opportunity to play in a conference championship game, of course. So they got to do all their damage in the regular season. If Notre Dame takes a loss in the season opener on the road at Kyle Field, that's probably a good thing for teams looking at-large berth. So kind of pulling for A&M against Notre Dame in that game. So the coaches poll is out. Let me know if you got any thoughts from seeing that preseason top 25 coaches poll that's out today. LSU preseason number 12. All right, we're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Going to go to, we'll do around the SEC in just a quick second, y'all. Saturday, the weather in these parts was horrendous. The Sherwood Forest area in particular in Baton Rouge got hammered by hail. If you had hail in your area, high wind, heavy rain, if you noticed you had branches or other debris fall onto your roof, you might have had roof damage. You gotta let us come do a free, no obligation roofing inspections. Parish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know. That's me, that's Terrio, that's Richard Tilley, that's Joe Morales, that's Trent Davis, that's our whole crew, and we'd love to help you out. Again, Our goal is from the time we show up, you make that phone call, we're going to come to your house, do the inspection, give you a full inspection report. If we recommend filing a claim, we'll help you file that claim. We have Linda's awesome on our staff. She's a licensed insurance adjuster, comes from the insurance side, so she knows how to help get your claim approved. All you got to do is pick out the shingle color. We'll replace your roof. We'll handle everything all the way to the completion. All you got to do is pick out shingle color. It's Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Well, this is one to watch as we're less than a month out from the opener now. Florida running back Montrell Johnson, week to week after having arthroscopic knee surgery. So Johnson was injured during the opening days of training camp. He is expected back in time for the opener against Miami, August 31st in the Swamp. Johnson, who started his career at ULL, went with Billy Napier to Gainesville, has led the Gators in rushing the past 2 seasons. And you know that Florida lost their other running back, Trevor Etienne, to Georgia in the transfer portal this past season. A former Tulane standout, Cam Carroll, not expected to play this season after a significant knee injury. The Gators do have JUCO transfer Jacoby Jackson and Trayon Webb and freshman Jaden Baugh. But they're down Montrell Johnson, a massive blow to that Florida offense. We'll keep you posted.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn got another big commitment. The dividend still paying after Big Cat weekend. This time 5-star edge rusher Jared Smith picking Auburn over Georgia, Ole Miss, USC, Florida State, South Carolina. Second high-profile player from Thompson High School to pick Auburn in this class. Of course, 4-star safety Anquan Fagans, their teammates there. He's already picked Auburn. Smith is the second-best edge rusher in the country, 5-star, second-best player in the state of Alabama, 6'2", 235-pound edge, the 5th defensive line commit, the 22nd overall commit for Auburn's 2025 class, which currently ranks 5th in the country.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And Arkansas added its 4th commitment of the day on Saturday when Little Rock Parkview 2025 running back Cameron Settles picked Arkansas. 5'11", 195, chose the Razorbacks over Missouri, Arkansas State, Yale, Memphis, Tulsa. He's the 21st commit for Arkansas's 2025 class. He's a 3-star tailback, but it was a huge day. So it started with getting JUCO safety Shannon Blair, then 2 2026 prospects out of Oklahoma in edge rusher Colton Yarbrough, safety Adam Austin. Arkansas had 20 other commits, for the 2025 class. Okay, there you have it. That is around the SEC. Our Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows, Windows Door Siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Give Brandon Holly and the gang a shout over at Relief Windows. Okay, let me knock out a break, y'all. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1. Muse will do a little Olympic update for you. We also, coming up after the top of the hour, I want to talk about the big get LSU got on Sunday in 2025 safety Aiden Hall out of New Orleans. And Philip Wright, the receiver out of Destrehan, decommitted from Michigan, could be the next to pop for LSU. So some pretty important recruiting news coming up in 17 minutes from right now. Don't you move, it's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries. By now, you know where to find them. Action, INDINC.com. Action, INDINC.com. Proud partner of LSU Athletics in 2 physical locations on Highway 30 in Geismar and then in Belrose as well. Of course, tell you about Action Industries. They know who they are. If you're a maintenance manager, turnaround coordinator in one of the 30-some-odd plants up and down the river, you need to get to know our friends over at Action Industries. But not only do they do great contractor work, they're an industrial contractor, but they offer fabrication shop services as well. Pipe, structural steel, pressure vessels, and when it comes to pipe, they fabricate in separate shops, alloy and carbon steel. The 2 sections are totally segregated. You know why that's important. They're ASME certified vessel manufacturer. They have all 3 stamps, R, S, and U. They also offer food grade fabrication. Check them out. It's Action Industries.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. and backed by the one-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Another day brought another watch list. Today, the Walter Camp Award, National Player of the Year Award. Watch list was out. Harold Perkins was on it. I don't think we'll see the day that a defensive player wins the Walter Camp, but I guess you can always dream. Perk, we're all hoping, has an awesome season. More of a hybrid role, continues to look good out in camp, running with the ones, of course, alongside Greg Penn. Your second linebackers are the Weeks brothers, West and Witt. So Tigers have good numbers there. And Greg Penn actually met with reporters after practice on Monday, and he was asked about the depth that they have at linebacker, and they certainly feel like they have more numbers and depth, more so than a year ago.
Yes, we have a lot of interchangeable guys that can go out there and play. I really have confidence in everybody in the room to go out there and do their job. So being able to have multiple guys that can do multiple things is really good for us as a room. It creates really problems for the defense because, I mean, we're rotating and we're fresh. We'll be able to play faster and things like that.
We'll see how that continues to go with the linebackers, really in the entire front seven. The hope being that the linebackers can lend some assistance to that defensive front seven. It was so interesting watching the defensive tackles today. I can't remember who I think it was Glenn West I was talking to. I think it was Glenn from 24/7. And standing there watching the defensive tackles, and they're just these massive humans, right? You look at the roster, and like there's just no shortage of size and just impressive size and ability at defensive tackle. But the general feeling is like, they're not going to be any good, right? I mean, Suggs is 6'3", 295. He's massive. Chemo, 6'4", 297. Jacobian, 6'2", 320. Jalen Lee, 6'3", 296. Ahmad Bro, 6'3", 285. Sean Washington, 6'4", 298. Don McKinley, 6'6", 315. Demyron Johnson, 6'1", 295. Gio Paez, 6'3", 305. I mean, they're massive. You look and you see all these massive humans, and you look at this assembly, and you go, how are they not going to be able to stop people? Look at them. And, then they go and they run, their pass rush drills against the first-team offensive line, and the first-team offensive line wins literally every rep. So I'm not saying they're bad. And a part of that is I think LSU's offensive line is dominant, going to be awesome. But it is going to be interesting to see that defensive line and losing your top three guys from a year ago in Mekhi Wingo and Jordan Jefferson and Mason Smith, losing your top three and bringing in Paez and bringing in Suggs, bringing back Guillory, hoping Jalen Lee takes a big step. When he gets out there, he hadn't been out there. You bring in a big five-star like Don McKinley. You got a JUCO and Sean Washington. You got tons of massive bodies. They've got to be able to find a way to stop somebody this year. They just have to. Interesting take there, though, by Greg Penn. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Muse, hit us with the drums. It's time for a little Olympic update here as we move through the final week. This is the final week of the Olympics now, isn't it? It's got to be the final week.
I think it's the final full week.
Oh, we got to be just about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been going on for a while.
It has, and it's been really good for the United States. It's been going really well for Team USA. They come off a weekend where they saw 10 gold medal victories, of course, highlighted by Noah Lyles in just an insane 100-meter final there. 5,000ths of a second, Matt, determining gold and silver. Pretty wild. It went to the United States. So that's what they're coming into Monday on, riding a heater.
Whipping foreigners, Muse.
Whipping foreigners.
Noah Lyles. USA! Fastest man in the world.
Yep.
By 5 bajillionths of a second.
Yes. But it still counts.
Counts.
He's the fastest man in the world.
Counts.
Other guy wasn't faster.
Nope.
Almost, though. Got started bright and early today out in Paris with the finishing up of women's gymnastics and the men's gymnastics program as well. Simone Biles, silver medal in the floor exercise. Not to be outdone, her teammate, Jordan Childs, takes the bronze in that event. United States did not get a medal on the balance beam in the individual competition.
What?
Yeah, I know. That's disappointing. Mixed team skeet shooting. Silver went to the United States there. Vincent Hancock and Austin Smith doing the honors for the United States. Back to the track on the pole vault. Sam Kendricks takes the silver medal.
Oh.
Because former LSU Tiger Mondo Duplantis sets a world record.
Yeah, he's not American. Don't care.
Sets a world record at 6.25 meters.
Tell me about the American.
And takes the gold.
Tell me about the guy that's
straight.
proud to wear the American flag and compete for America, the place where he was born and raised.
That was Sam Kendricks, and he took the silver.
Happy for him.
Did very well.
Good job, Sammy.
Hey, 3-on-3 basketball. Bronze medal for the United States of America on the women's side. So Haley Van Lith.
Yeah!
Bronze medal. They beat Canada in the bronze medal match 16-13 to get the job done. There. And then the lone gold medal so far today for the United States. There will be more. That goes to Valerie Allman in the discus, her second consecutive Olympics, taking home the gold medal.
How about that?
Yeah. She's a beast, man. Saw a little bit of the semifinal with her the other day.
I would think a discus thrower would be bigger. She's just lean and shredded. Pull that up again. Valerie Allman? I haven't watched a minute of it, but look, she's shredded,
She is,
man.
dude.
Wow, good for her.
So second consecutive Olympics there.
Valerie. Should have played Valerie for that.
I should have. They wasn't thinking about that.
Or the Eric Pride's remix or remake.
That's
sampling with Call on Me.
Now that one's great.
Just a totally gratuitous music video where it's nothing but women in workout gear, hip thrusting and what.
Absolutely. It's on the album.
Smart man.
On the album cover too.
Smart man.
Yeah. That does it for the medals, but you have some other results here. Men's beach volleyball, Partain and Benesh beat Italy in straight sets. They advanced to the semifinals. Unfortunately, Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss did see their Olympics come to an end. They were upset by Canada in straight sets, 21-18,
Canada ain't never whipped nobody in
21-19. Oh, gosh, did that. So their round ends in the round of 16 there. Your overall medal count, to get you caught up, the United States, 78 total medals. Wide margin there. They trail China by 1 in the golds, 21-20. But there's a lot of opportunity tomorrow.
We got basketball coming.
Basketball and a lot of track tomorrow, too. That's your Olympic update.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You love gold. You can go to the Olympics and win a gold medal, or you can go to Lee Michaels and buy gold. How about that? Gold jewelry. Or a beautiful diamond, of course. At Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where they'll always give you the Lee Michaels experience. Check them out online at lmfj.com, lmfj.com, or walk into any of the Lee Michaels locations, 9 in all, 2 in Baton Rouge, Corporate, and Bocage, a Mall of Louisiana, and of course, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport. Jewelry lasts. It's something that, you give to your wife. Your wife will give to your daughter one day. It's classic. It's timeless. It's something that you're buying that's a forever piece. Think of that when you go to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Remember, you can upgrade that ring as well. Let me upgrade you at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Okay, it's after further review. Pete Fiutak, College Football News, is going to join us in 35 minutes. Want to get Pete's take on the preseason coaches poll, top 25. Ross Jackson, 1 hour and 5 minutes from right now from Irvine for our Saints camp report. When we come back, Tigers land a safety for the class of 2025, and a wide receiver could be next. We're talking about it right after SportsCenter. AFR.
AFR.
Man, I'm telling you what, it is time to ride on over to South Point Volkswagen. Summer sales event isn't going to last forever, y'all. Summer's almost over. And if you want to take advantage of these amazing deals, you could go over to South Point Volkswagen. Or you could start right now. You could start right now at southpointvw.com. 2024 Atlas and Crossport, 0.9% APR for 60 months. Check it out at southpointvw.com. And the ID Buzz. That's the electric Volkswagen bus. The ID Buzz, they're getting 7 of them, 7 total at South Point. If you want one, you can reserve it today at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, or online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Oshner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Oshner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Kansas City's Harrison Butker is now the highest paid kicker in the NFL. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Chiefs signing him to a 4-year, more than $25 million extension, almost $18 million guaranteed. Simone Biles capped off her 2024 Summer Olympics by earning silver today in the floor exercise final, her 11th career Olympic gold medal and 4th in Paris. The U.S. men's basketball team leaning into its identity as it gets ready for its defining week of these games. They made the final preparations today. The collective mindset, stay with the plan and keep it simple, notes coach Steve Kerr.
We know what wins a FIBA game. It's defense. And we are just completely focused on our defense. And part of defense is finishing the play with rebounds. And then the beauty of our team and the talent, the depth of our talent is that from one game to the next, we got lots of guys who have the ability to get rolling.
Team USA takes on Brazil in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Baseball, Braves righty Ronaldo Lopez with forearm inflammation put on the injured list.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, Jim Harbaugh is back. Justin Herbert is already hurt. I'll tell you if the Chargers fans should already be worried about their season. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona. And here we go. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Pete Fiutak, college football news, 30 minutes from right now. Talk about the preseason top 25, which came out today. Ross Jackson, 1 hour from right now, out in Irvine, California. LSU is back on the practice field here on Monday. If you missed the open of the show, we opened with my full practice report. Just a few real quick notables for those that missed it. Shells today, so helmet, shoulder pads. Jalen Lee, Braden Swinson remain absent. Shelton Sampson, Xavion Thomas were limited. Bernard Causey, John Emery, Major Burns all left with injuries, but Emery and Burns both returned and participated fully afterwards. All around, a pretty good day for the LSU offense. The offense had the upper hand today over the defense in all the team periods that we saw. But the defense continues to make play, including an Ashton Stamps interception of Garrett Nussmeier at the goal line in a 2-minute offense when Nuss had taken him right down the field, and right there on the doorstep, boom, Ashton Stamps jumped a route. Nuss threw it into traffic and was picked. But if you want the full practice report, it was there in the show open. You can catch it on demand. Of course, AFR on demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. So Sunday was a fruitful day for LSU on the recruiting trail. Aiden Hall, one of the top safeties in America for 2026 out of Edna Carr in New Orleans, picked the LSU Tigers, making that announcement on Sunday. I'll give you the background here on Hall. He is a consensus 4-star. All of the services have him as a 4-star. He is rated as high as number 51 in the country by On3. In the composite, he's the number 54 overall player in the country. That's 54 at any position. So we're talking about a major prospect here for 2026. 6th best safety in the country, 5th best player in Louisiana, 6 foot, 175, ended up picking LSU over Alabama, Texas, Southern Cal, Oregon, Georgia, Florida State, Ole Miss. The list of offers for Aiden Hall is long and illustrious. It's basically everybody. LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State, Oregon, Georgia, USC, Florida, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Duke, Texas Tech, A&M, Texas, Georgia Tech, Alabama, Tennessee, Baylor, Mizzou. I mean, everybody. Had darn near offers from everybody. And he's a rising junior. So there's a couple of reasons why I think this is significant. One is we continue to harp on that 2026 class in Louisiana, right? And I think that's where I'm going to start and going to continue to mention over and over again. Look at LSU's national championship teams. You'll see years where there's a bumper crop in the state of Louisiana. And when you get the bulk of those guys to stay home, you end up building a championship team, a championship caliber team around them. Started back with that 01 class that had Michael Clayton and Marcus Spears and Andrew Whitworth and all those, got Marquise Hill, who all stayed home and ultimately won a national championship at LSU. When you look at Louisiana in 2026, it's very similar, where Jakeem Stewart out of St. Aug is the number 1 player in the state. Lamar, one of the top, number 4 nationally. Lamar Brown, number 5 nationally. Blaine Bradford, number 13 nationally. Bryson Martinez, number 46 nationally. Aiden Hall, number 54 nationally. Jabari Mack, 78th nationally. I mean, all these guys I'm talking about, too, are all guys that are either committed to LSU or are LSU leans. So, yes, it is so imperative that you start fast with this 2026 class, so there's a Pied Piper effect for the rest of the 2026 class. The other part as well is New Orleans. When we talk about the 2026 commits for LSU, every commit that you have right now for 2026, they're all from New Orleans. So yes, you're making hay. And when you look at someone specifically like Aiden Hall, who plays safety, you had a situation with Aiden Hall where Frank Wilson, who's the area recruiter in New Orleans, kind of assists Jake Olson, the safeties coach. So Jake Olson gets a big-time prospect for his room, but you also end up talking about getting Frank Wilson, whoever Frank Wilson wants out of New Orleans, effectively, Frank Wilson gets out of New Orleans. It seems that way anyway, and that certainly bodes well for the 2026 class when you look at the other guys I just mentioned, all from New Orleans. So, right now, the guys committed for 2026 for LSU, Aiden Hall from Edna Carr, Richard Anderson from Edna Carr, Jalen Chapman from Warren Easton, Ja'Kai Anderson from McDonough 35. So a huge start for 2026 for LSU. The other piece of this that I guess is interesting and worth mentioning is the safety room and the depth there. Like, when I look at LSU at safety right now, man, they got a lot of numbers. They had to fortify that spot if the defense was so bad a year ago, and they've done it. You want to look at even a guy like Sage Ryan, who was playing safety in spring and is playing corner now, but even if you don't include Sage Ryan or Major Burns, who's playing the star position, you go look at the safeties right now, and they are just flooded with numbers. I mean, Brian Kelly told me this when I interviewed him one-on-one at Media Day. Something like 18 scholarship defensive backs right now. It's a glut of bodies to try to find the right people. You brought in Jordan Gilbert. You got guys like Jordan Allen, Deshaun Spears, the freshman who everybody's super high on. Joel Rogers, another freshman. Kylan Jackson, who redshirted a year ago, but they're very high on. Juwan Johnson, the freshman coming in this year. You've got numbers at safety. But I also know this. After this season, you're losing Major Burns and Sage Ryan. They're out of eligibility. Jordan Gilbert, in his 4th year of college, could go pro after this season. So you could be losing a glut of your experience after this season. And you look at 2025, who you have coming in, well, you've got Jace Thomas committed, but that's it. Now you're pushing for Jonah Williams, the number 1 safety in the country, and you offered Jacob Bradford out of Catholic High, who's a 4-star, so you could end up adding 3 safeties in this class, or you could miss on both those guys and have 1. And then when you look at 2026, you're in on Blaine Bradford, who's the number 1 safety in the country, and now you've got Aiden Hall committed. The point is, you know you're losing after the season, say, Dryan and Major Burns, and possibly Jordan Gilbert. That doesn't even start to talk about the portal guys, which is why every year now I think you have to be looking at positions like receiver and defensive back and positions where you have numbers, because when guys get caught up in that numbers game, they're more likely to transfer. Look at what happened on the offensive line this year for LSU as well. Like, it's part of the reasons why you have two true freshmen on your 2 deep right now, because you lose a guy like Lance Hurd out of the transfer portal. You lose a guy like Marlon Martinez, who's a veteran who decides he's going to go play Mississippi State and have a chance to start this year. It's just the nature of roster building now, where you have to sort of oversign because of the nature of the portal. And then also next year going to 105 scholarships, you've got to add 20 more scholarship players than you normally would. So I think you're probably going to end up offering players sometimes, or taking players that you otherwise wouldn't if you were just hard capped at 25 and 85 scholarship players. So Aiden Hall for 2026 is big for a lot of reasons. It's a position that's going to be a position of need. It's a guy out of New Orleans that you continue to just put a fence around that city. And obviously, 2026, a bumper crop in the state. You got to get all those guys, and he's a big one. A number 54 overall player in the country. Aiden Hall commits to LSU for the class of 2026. Shay Dixon's with us every Tuesday. I'll ask Shay about Aiden Hall. Also ask him about Philip Wright, which I'm going to break so we stay on time. But I do want to get to Philip Wright in a bit. Philip Wright is the wide receiver out of Destrehan, who in July committed to Michigan. Well, on Sunday, he decommitted from Michigan, and it is thought to be that he's going to be a heavy lean toward LSU and is going to end up in LSU's class. But we'll talk about that when I have a little more time. We'll get to it. Let me stay on time. Okay, it's after further review. Quick break. Pete Fiutak, college football news coming up at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, a little more from Saints camp today. Let's hear from Dennis Allen and Michigan. Big trouble for the defending champs. Talk about it next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to getgordon.com, get Gordon, and get it done. Remember, if you'd rather talk to someone, that is always an option as well. You can call 888-8888. Go to the website. There's links that you can click. You can get the phone number there direct as well at getgordon.com. Gordon and his team have helped more than 10,000 Louisiana residents recover more than $2 billion in damages over the last 30 years. So for an example of all the different types of cases they handle, you can go to getgordon.com. You can get the links if you want to click to get in touch with an attorney there on Gordon's team. You can do that. And you could read testimonials, real results from real people. It's at getgordon.com, getgordon.com. If you've been injured, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
It's a tough day up in Ann Arbor as Sharon Moore is getting ready for his first season as the head coach. And you've seen all this by now. It's the Connor Stallion stuff, and the NCAA has issued its notice of allegations. ESPN, I guess, and other outlets got their hands on the NOA. I guess I can oversimplify this if you're not familiar with the case. There was a Michigan staffer who was basically dressing up in disguise and spying on opponents to gain an advantage. Like, there's literally pictures of him in a Central Michigan coach's kit on the sideline when Central Michigan was playing Michigan State. And apparently the NCAA has uncovered, I'm trying to look at the exact number. I had it here. Here it is. Stallion scouted at least 13 future Michigan opponents on at least 58 different occasions between 2021 and 2023. Look, it's against the rules. I don't really care. Like, we all have game film, and I guess you're in there and you could be trying to steal signs from the sideline. You could do the same thing. What's the difference if you buy a ticket to a game and write it down or record it? Whatever. Fine. Yeah, it's against the rules. They'll probably get popped and should get popped. I'm not really up in arms about the whole thing. My point mostly is I just don't think Michigan's going to be very good this year. I'm not telling you they're going to be bad. But my feeling on Michigan is a lot like my feeling on Alabama. Y'all, coaching matters. I'm oversimplifying that. You're going to roll your eyes. I don't blame you. But the example I'm going to give you is the one that, for me, has forever cemented my opinion on this topic, and it was Bountygate. The 2011 New Orleans Saints were the best team in Saints history. The 2011 team was better than the Super Bowl champion team in 2009. They were literally the most productive offense in NFL history. It sucks how it ended, but it did. Everybody was back the next year. Everybody. They were all back in 2012. Except for Sean Payton. But they had everything. You had great player leadership. Breeze was still there. They had all the, remember how they were going to, they had mapped out, because they had time, they had mapped out how they were going to handle the coaching duties with like Aaron Cromer and then Joe Vitt when Joe Vitt got back. It was all there. The big Peyton banner, do your job. You know what that team did? They went 500 and missed the playoffs. The next year, Sean Payton's back, boop, 11 wins back in the playoffs. Like, coaching matters. The bigger problem that Michigan has is that 50 players from their championship team are gone, including 15 to the NFL draft, and their head coach is gone. And all the coaches as well that are involved in this stupid scandal. Clinkscale, Minter, they're both with Harbaugh in L.A. Partridge is now with the Seattle Seahawks. Shoelace, Denard Robinson, was fired. Now, he was also involved in the NOA because he had a DUI. But my point is, like, Sharon Moore, opportunity of a lifetime, whatever, and he's in hot water because he was deleting text messages. Someone asked, like, do you think he's going to get fired? No, because I think Michigan's going to do whatever they want to do anyway. Now, the NCAA could go all Will Wade on him and, like, demand their pound of flesh and keep pressuring until they finally, fire him. I don't think they will, but I guess they could. But I guess my biggest takeaway here is, regardless of this, if Sharon Moore gets suspended or what, the bigger deal here is Jim Harbaugh and 15 draft picks are now in the NFL. They won their championship. If they come back and make them vacate the title, whatever. I mean, it won't be the first time. USC vacated the 2004 national championship. Louisville vacated the 2013 basketball national championship. It's happened before. None of us actually think anything of it or care about it. We'll use it to point and laugh. Ha ha, USC, you thought you were going to win 3 in a row, but you really didn't win any. Okay, it's a fun fan talking point, but we all watched the games and saw the teams and know how good they were and all that stuff. In Michigan, we all watched them beat Bama in that Rose Bowl and then watched them win the national championship. So whatever, man. The NCAA will do what the NCAA does, and maybe they'll pop Michigan, but I have a hard time pointing and laughing at teams that get popped by the NCAA. It's the old statement. But by the grace of God, there go I. If the NCAA wanted to point its crosshairs at your school, and I don't care who your school is, if your school is LSU or Alabama or Florida State or Oregon or Tennessee or Michigan or San Jose State, I don't care who your school is. If the NCAA wanted to point its crosshairs at your school, they'd find stuff because everybody cheats to varying degrees. So whatever. I don't throw stones in a glass house. I try not to anyway. But I think the bigger problem for Michigan is your coach and your championship team are gone, and you had a really tough schedule. You got to play Texas in week 2, and I just think it's going to be a really rough year by their expectations based on what they have built. Let me know your thoughts. You can email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Of course, I'm on Twitter at Matt Moscona if you want to tweet me. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, with more than 30 locations across a dozen different states. Michelli sells, services, and rents the products that you use to weigh and measure. Always encourage you to go to the website, Michelli.com. Hit the services tab right there on the homepage. I'll give you a great list of everything they do. You can request a quote. You can ship your equipment to them. They're an ISO 17025 accredited laboratory. I know I mentioned that a lot. People, if you don't know what it means, then you don't need it. But I've had so many people over the years come up and say, hey, I hear you say that, and we use ISO 17025 accreditation. Like, we need that. So it's a big deal. So we're glad to know they do that. Like, Michelli's got business just because of that. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. You want to see a list of all that they do? Calibration, preventative maintenance, weighing systems, inspections, equipment repair, installation. They do it all. Michelli is the team you can trust. Find your location nearest you or how you can ship your equipment to them at Michelli.com. Michelli.com for Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Pete Fiutak, college football news here in less than 10 minutes from right now. Dennis Allen met with reporters after Saints practice on Monday. And remember, today Jake Haener was absent because he was having the procedure for his skin cancer on his face. And it was an opportunity for Spencer Rattler without Jake Haener there to maybe take a step. Here was DA on Spencer Rattler's day.
He got a lot of reps today, which was good to see. I think he's improving every day. There's still some things that he's doing that, we've got to, understand how to play within the scheme of the offense, how to get through your progressions, knowing how to listen to your feet, when to, take your chances down the field, when it's time to check the ball down. All those things are good learning experiences. I wanted to put him in a situation, 4th and 5 there, and in a move the ball situation, see if he could execute and make a play. And he did. He made a hell of a throw on an out route, to get a first down in that situation. So I see some of that, confidence, which I think is good at the quarterback quarterback position, and yet, there's some times where I think we got to, pull the reins back just a little bit.
He's got the arm talent. It's undeniable. It's one of the things that made him, a former 5-star and a guy that at one point in his career was projected as the number 1 quarterback in the draft. But we know how it went. He lost his job at Oklahoma to Caleb Williams, ended up going to South Carolina, played pretty well. And now he's got his opportunity with the New Orleans Saints. The arm talent's undeniable. One more from DA, though. He was asked, are they comfortable with either guy, with Rattler or Haener at backup at quarterback at this point?
I think we got to let these preseason games play it out. I think we're trying to determine if we have a backup quarterback on our roster right now. I've seen some signs that I like, and yet I want to get them into real life situations under the lights and see how both of these guys operate in that environment. So I'm encouraged by what I've seen out of both Spencer and Jake, and yet, we haven't made any decisions there, and I want to see what they operate like under the lights.
Well, I really love that answer. I don't think anybody's winning anything in a press conference, but I do love that answer because and by the way, like Dennis Allen this camp has been insanely candid. It's almost like, if you forgive the reference, it's like someone who's on their deathbed and they just have nothing to hide anymore. They know the end is nigh. It's what are you going to beat around the bush for? I'm not trying to make something that's truly real life to football, you understand, but it's similar. Like, Dennis Allen knows he has no more rope here. Like, you don't get to miss the playoffs again and keep your job. NFL, not for long. We all know it. And he has been very candid about where they're good, where they aren't, who needs to do more. And I hope that's what he's telling these guys behind closed doors as well. But he's right. I don't care if Spencer Rattler's making throws against air in practice. If you go into a preseason game and he's spinning it, you got my attention. If you go to a preseason game and he stinks, it completely nullifies anything good he's done in practice. So, yeah, let's see what these two guys look like on Saturday against Arizona. And by the way, Sam Ehlinger looked like the second coming of Joe Montana in the preseason a couple of years ago in Indianapolis. He ain't very good. He's not a Sunday guy. He was a preseason guy. But if you can't do it in the preseason, what's to make me believe you can do it on Sundays? That's the next step. So let's see it starting on Saturday. Okay. Pete Fiutak, college football news next. It's AFR, presented by Relief.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. If you're a business owner, if you're an operations manager, if you're an HR manager, if you're the person at your business who handles hiring, this is the one thing, maybe more than other, I can say, that should sell you on Glow Resources. On at least picking up the phone and calling them. At Glow Resources, when they place someone, they help you hire someone for your job, they have a 93% retention rate. 93% of the people they hire stay. And by the way, in the off chance that it doesn't work, within 6 months, they'll give you a prorated refund or find you a new employee for free. You have nothing to lose. You just get to be more productive. Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Top 25 coaches poll out on Monday. Pete Fiutak, college football news, good enough to join us here, talk a little college football. How are you, Pete?
I'm doing just fine. How you doing? Do you have Mondomania right now in Baton Rouge? Is that the thing?
Oh, man, you asked the wrong guy. I'm kind of pissed that he's not competing for the U.S., so I'm like, whatever. I'm more pumped about the guy that's proud to wear the red, white, and blue. They got the silver. So
wow, so it's not Unicorn God Country. It's not LSU American. All that. So gotcha. Okay.
Like I said, dude, I was just the wrong guy to ask that. You asked literally 99 other people. They're all going to tell you something different. You just asked the wrong guy.
But so we're a world community at this point. It's still pretty awesome how you got it. So
yeah, cool. Okay, let's talk college football, Pete. Anyway, it's undeniable. He's incredible. That is undeniable. He's the greatest ever.
Yeah.
Hey, Top 25 came out today. I'm curious, what's the first thing that drew your attention?
It's just normal. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be predictive. It's supposed to be just a snapshot, and there's nothing on there that's too glaringly weird, except that now in the new era of expansion and everything, we don't have any group of 5 programs on there. So like. At the end of the season, Boise State's going to be there, Memphis is going to be there, Liberty's going to be there, only because they're going to have big records, and that's kind of how it works. Team wins and has a good record, team gets in it, team loses, goes out. So it really is more than ever. It's just kind of a big deal to be in one of these power conferences. And the other part of this thing too, that kind of shocked me a little bit is where are the Big Ten teams?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the teams up top. We all know Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. And let's not really start counting Oregon and USC quite yet. But, Iowa's in there, but there's no Wisconsin even. That's still got a little ways to go in Madison. And, there's no, outlier team. Like, no Michigan State at the moment, obviously, no Nebraska. So there's just a lot of missing teams for a conference with 18 teams in it.
What's a team in the Big Ten that's not there now that you think is probably being overlooked?
A lot of them. I mean, in terms of the top 25, it's not a whole lot right now because I think Washington's a little bit if we're going to count them as a Big Ten team now.
Okay.
But I think going forward, watch out for – there's a lot of good middle-level teams now. Michigan State's a whole lot better now. Nebraska's a lot better now. Minnesota's better than what was last year. Indiana's going to be the most interesting team of the bunch. It's Indiana, whatever, who cares? But you get the head coach from James Madison, and he brought in 18 James Madison players, and all of the good ones are coming in under Kurt Signetti, their head man. And now this program, they're going to be a tough out every week. So now you've got a conference where you've got an Indiana team that's not going to be a total walkover like the past. Rutgers is going to be tough. Northwestern's going to be, kind of quirky. So you've got a lot of mid-range teams that are going to be good, but there's really no one there who's going to really challenge the upper levels of the Big Ten.
That's why we go to Pete Fiutak. When you want the sleeper, he gives you Indiana and makes it compelling. I tell you, I love it. It's good stuff. Hey,
I talk pole vaulting, and I can go all over the place. I cannot be painted with one brush.
Oh, the versatility is amazing.
By the way, but real fun fact, I'd never heard of Mondo before about 2 hours ago. I didn't even know this guy existed. Now he's he's being compared to Usain Bolt and Michael Jordan. So okay, pretty cool.
Hey, he lived in Lafayette. He was born in 40 minutes from Baton Rouge. So went to high school there, went to LSU. So he's from. We've just been aware of Mondo here for a very, very long time.
I'm sure you have. It's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, shuffle the mid-tier of the SEC. If you agree, like most people do, Georgia, Texas at the top. There's that middle tier, right? Ole Miss, Bama, LSU, Tennessee, Missouri. If you're trying to shuffle that up, how does it look in your mind?
All of them. Tennessee, like you said, LSU throw in there if there's a little bit. I mean, at this point with LSU, it's the assumption with Brian Kelly, where the defense stunk last year and they were still really good. The offense is always going to be good. Love him or hate him, the guy wins college football games. So LSU is in that mix too. I got automatically, yes, I do. It's kind of crazy. I'm going to, Charles Barkley and misquote myself in my own autobiography. I'm going to say this and not believe it. But Texas, on talent, might be the third best team in the country. But look at welcome to the SEC, son. I mean, there's 3 losses there. I am not the person that's assuming that Texas just walks in and just rolls through and they're going to be in the college football playoff. You go 9-3, that's not a sure thing. And remember, everyone kind of forgets that last year they should have lost to TCU, should have lost to Kansas State, had to struggle against Iowa State. You can get away with that stuff against TCU and Iowa State and Kansas State. You can't get away with that against I can't remember if they're on the schedule or not, but an Ole Miss. You can't get away with that in the SEC quite as much. And so they still got to deal with Oklahoma, still got to deal with Michigan to start the season. And then if you biff one of those two, all of a sudden, it gets a little dicey for the Longhorns here.
The one thing you look at, though, is the schedule makers did give them a road, in SEC terms, Pete, a road paved in gold. Their road conference games are Vandy, Arkansas, and then Texas A&M. They get Georgia.
Well, they could lose that. Don't blow that off. Texas A&M.
I'm with
you. Ask about the middle pack team. There's your team. What?
Okay.
Texas A&M, and now after Notre Dame lost its left tackle today, watch out for that defensive front against the Irish to start the season. So A&M's going to bookend itself with Notre Dame and Texas. They're kind of a quirky. You get the rest of their midsection of the schedule, and I'm with you. Look at the Texas A&M schedule. You could see 9-3 and being a fringe top 12 team and into that playoff if you could buy into the idea they could beat the Irish to start the season and get by Texas maybe.
Couple more. He's on Twitter at Pete Fiutak, Fiutak, college football. He's a publisher of College Football News. Make sure you bookmark it and get there every day during college football season. What's interesting, Pete, when we look at a 12-team playoff, in my opinion, are the the automatic bids, in particular from the Big 12 and the ACC, because I have no idea who's going to win a Texas and Oklahoma-less Big 12. What do you say?
Oh, Utah. Utah might win a Texas and Oklahoma Big 12. Utah's guys, they didn't have Cam Rising, their quarterback, last year. They were missing a whole bunch of parts. They were still pretty good, but they didn't quite have the team they had in previous years. Now they're one of those teams that gets everybody back. So it's Texas, Utah, Oklahoma State, maybe Kansas State. Arizona didn't actually lose a whole lot. They kind of were a little bit underrated in this thing because some big donor from Tucson basically kept everyone around when Jed Fish wanted to take them all to Washington. So Arizona's pretty good too. But to your point, where this is going to get funky and everyone's going to have to get used to this right away, where in the final college football playoff rankings, let's say Utah is 11th, and maybe Florida State or Clemson is 8 or 7th. They're going to be 3-4 in the seedings, and everyone's going to have to kind of get used to the idea of the seedings are just going to be very weird, and the lack of reseeding they're going to change. Prediction right now, next year by this time, they're going to change up the whole no reseed thing because someone's going to get hosed on this, and if there might be a shot, you might be the number 1 overall seed and actually get a bad break if there's a big upset in the first round.
What about the ACC?
I mean, I guess Florida State, but it kind of gets lost in all the hoo-ha about how they literally did not deserve to be in the playoff last year, no matter how many ways you want to put it, because they didn't beat anybody. I mean, look at their schedule. Look at where's your good win? I mean, there's just nothing quite there. I mean, obviously to start the season, LSU is kind of all right, but big deal. Alabama did that. I mean, so it was a good team. I think it was a vastly overloved team because of the undefeated record. And I don't know how much better they are this year, if at all. Clemson's always good. I mean, Clemson was a kicker away from probably being closer last year. So they're pretty strong in this mix. You do have a better Louisville this year, but their schedule kind of stinks. And the team that's never gotten there, I think the crazy fun stat is you want to try to find programs that have never won 10 games. I think NC State did it once in its history. They knock on the door every single year. It's 9 wins every single year, and this might be Dave Doran's best team. So there's a lot of good teams, but certainly nothing to get into a twist over. And even if Florida State goes undefeated or Clemson goes rocking, they're not better than the top teams in the SEC or the Big Ten. And at the end of the day, with all these teams, we're all just killing time. It's Ohio State, it's Georgia. They are so twisted better than everybody else out there that if you want to give me Ohio State and Georgia and take the field about who's going to win the national title, I'll take that any day.
You take Ohio State, Georgia over the field?
Oh, there's so much. I mean, notice that they didn't have a whole lot of players taken in the draft. They got everyone back, and they've both improved in certain ways. I mean, getting Caleb, that defense of Ohio State was going to be number 1 in the nation no matter what anyway, and now you get Caleb Downs, who's probably the best player in all of college football. There's still question marks about the offensive line a little bit. Certainly Will Howard's not C.J. Stroud, but that defense is not going to give up more than 14 points a game. So Ohio State's awesome. Georgia's obviously amazing. I think there's about 100 feet between them and then Oregon and Texas, which are both ranked high. But again, Oregon, just throw them into that Texas bucket too of welcome to a league where you play a lot of better teams. Oregon didn't really beat anybody last year. So I think it's really the Buckeyes and Bulldogs unless something really catastrophic happens.
The one big variable, 12-team playoff. What does it look like? How much more difficult is it? It's and I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. Those two should be at the top. Get into a real playoff, man. Weird things can happen.
It's so freaking long. See, so we're not going to go to. I mean, great for me. I'm a college football publisher, but I think the last game is January 20th. I mean, is the world going to care? We're deep in the NFL playoffs, and part of the big variable is who has NFL-itis. You're going to get a lot of players on top teams that are going to be like, yeah, this is fun and all, but I got about $10 million to go make at the next level. So this is you're not going to get upsets. It's not going to be like the NCAA basketball tournament where you can just get hot from 3. There's going to be a whole lot of ugly out there for a while. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a war of attrition in this. And the crazy, there's going to be some funky, parts to this too where you're actually at an advantage to actually probably not win your conference championship. If you can go 10-2, avoid the college conference championship and get a home game in the first round. Like that's the Notre Dame thing. Oh, boo-hoo, you got the 5 seed. Well, that means you don't have to play a conference championship. You're probably going to get Memphis or Liberty or Boise State in South Bend in December. And then you get an extra week off to rest. Kind of a sweet deal for Notre Dame. So there's a whole lot of different quirks that we haven't really accounted for yet.
That is exactly why I'm fascinated how it plays out, because the exact scenario you just unfolded. But we're going to start about 3 weeks, man. Fired up for it. Pete Fiutak, College Football News.
Go.
He's on Twitter at Pete Fiutak. Thanks, man.
Have a great one.
All right, be well. It's After Further Review, brought to you by our friends over at Parish Restoration. Of course, I've told you forever, kill mold, remove odor, patented non-toxic dry fog. It's just the new name. My partners over at Parish, Terrio and Tilly, merged with Jim Woodworth, put everything under the Parish umbrella. Same patented non-toxic dry fog. They'll kill mold, remove odor, commercial, residential. If you got odor from smoke, cigarette smoke, or a fire, and you're doing remediation, they can handle that. It's restoration, it's mold, remediation, it's all of it. They can do the demo and build back if you need it. But one of the great things is, let's say hypothetically you do have mold in your house. They're not coming in looking to cut sheetrock and pull out carpet or any of that stuff. They can spray this patented non-toxic dry fog. It'll kill the mold, remove the odor, and it's going to save you money. It's more cost-effective and more efficient. For a residential home, I mean, they could be in and out in a few hours, half a day. It's Parish Restoration. Go to the website at parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab and get all the info. You see photos, videos of the whole process. Learn more about it. You can contact them for a quote. It's parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab for Parish Restoration. I appreciate Pete Fiutak. Could we disagree on anything more? I mean, we disagree on Mondo, and then he went Florida State. What was he going to say next? That Kalen DeBoer is going to win the national championship this year?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, is Pete Fiutak? Well, he went Georgia, Ohio State, but
yeah, that Kalen DeBoer and Alabama don't ever miss a beat. They just keep going on the Saban track.
Could Pete Fiutak and I disagree on it? What was he going to do? He's going to be anti-Jim Schlossnagle going to Texas. What else could Pete have come out with? Now, I disagree with him fundamentally on this is just as a college football take. If you gave me Ohio State and Georgia or the field, I would absolutely take the field. You?
I mean, yeah, from an odds standpoint, yeah, sure.
I understand his point, but you would have taken Georgia last year.
Exactly.
You're going to give – now, I understand, even if we just look at the blue chip ratio, which this year there's 16 teams, right, blue chip ratio. You're going to give me 14 of the 16? Yeah, I'll take that. I mean, while Ohio State and Georgia have the best odds to win it, you're going to tell me Texas – I mean, who had Washington in the championship game last year?
TCU a couple years ago.
Well, yes. Expand it to a 12-team playoff now, and you're playing a tough conference championship game. Because, by the way, Ohio State, there's no more Northwestern waiting for you in the Big Ten championship game. There's no more Purdue waiting for you anymore. It's the top two teams. Same thing in the SEC. So hypothetically, that's what everyone's saying. You could end up seeing Georgia, Texas 3 times this year. Regular season, SEC championship, playoff. You could. So how's that going to go? I mean, there are just variables that you got to consider that weren't there before. All right, it's After Further Review. Let me knock out a break. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Of course, windows, doors, siding. They do indoor shutters as well. Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. All right, Muse will do Tigers and the Pros. Ross Jackson here in 14 minutes as we'll get a Saints camp report from out in Irvine. Will Campbell, Greg Penn, Jacobian Guillory, Kyron Lacey all met with reporters after LSU practice today. So we got a ton to do. Otter's back as well. I can't wait to hear how Delmar went. And he just dives deep into the pit of misery, dilly-dilly, with his picks like he did a couple of years ago, like he typically does when he gets back from Delmar. But we'll find out. All right, it's AFR. Stay here.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential. Think real estate. Think Darren James. Got a coworker of mine right now trying to sell their home, looking to buy another home, and it's been a years-long process. And finally, I told my coworker, look, I've watched you go through this process with your friends and your relatives and other people that are realtors. If you're actually ready to sell your home and buy a new home and move, you need to call Darren James. And they met last week. 335-7666, 335-7666. Wall Street Journal Real Trends lists the top 1% of realtors in America. The top 1,000 realtors in America. Darren James, number 13 in America, number 1 in Louisiana. There is literally not a realtor in this state that sold more homes last year than Darren James. So if you need to sell your home, you need the best. It's Darren James. Guaranteed. agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Wrapping up hour number 2, Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Paul Skeens was on the bump yesterday for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It was yet again another no decision for Paul, but solid outing, 5 1/3, 2 earned, 3 walks.
He left with the lead.
Little high, yeah, 4 Ks. I know. He left with, I know. That's what he's been doing, though. And the Pirates just wait too late to score runs, or they don't score.
No, they got the lead. They were up. They gave him 4 runs in the first 2 innings.
Okay, never mind. I misunderstood you. Okay, yes. Left lead. And this bullpen this time. Oh,
yeah, the bullpen screwed him up.
Okay, yeah. Well, because remember, he went through that stretch in the beginning of his career where he didn't leave without the lead in any of his games, like throughout his whole professional career. Anyway, he'll move on. ERA still sub-2. It's just so good. Aaron Nola on the bump tonight. Tonight, opposing Tyler Glasnow and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Looking for win number 12 is Nola, 130 Ks in 136 innings with a 3.4 ERA. Not bad.
Doesn't stink.
Doesn't stink at all. DJ LeMahieu yesterday for the New York Yankees. No. Just 1 for 4, but it was a big one. 2 RBIs, and the Yankees ended up winning the game by 1 run. So massive. Oh, thought that was louder. Massive there for for DJ and in New York. Yeah, I realized I had two things playing there. Had to fix it, and it made me stutter through what I was going through.
Got it.
Yep. A couple minor league notes to get to here before we get out of here. Cam Sanders, another solid inning. One of them struck out the side, though, in order in that inning, so 3 Ks for him in his outing. And then Eric Razelman doing big things in Double-A. Shutout inning to work for him, along with a strikeout there. 2.61 ERA in Double-A. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Okay. Totally lost my spot. I was looking at this video of DJ LeMahieu's walk-off. Yeah. Look at it.
Yeah, lose your spot. Happened to you, happened to me. It's just an occurrence.
So good. Low walk-off. That's what the Yankees tweet
Who was that scored, and why did he look like Brett Gardner?
Was it Soto? I thought it was Soto. No?
No, yeah. Well, it was like a white guy with his socks up.
That's so good.
A white guy with his socks up. It was Brett Gardner. Look at him. He's back.
I don't think he's back. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Let's get the Sports Center here, get you caught up on national headlines. Ross Jackson will join us from Saints camp, as he's done all throughout the time out there in Irvine. No Jake Haener today. He was having that procedure on his skin cancer, so it was a day where Spencer Rattler got a ton of reps. How did he do? We'll ask Ross Jackson when we come back to start Hour 3 next.
AFR.
Got a text on the show text line from Brett Guidry. Shout out, Brett. It's a picture of case of Evermore with the caption, "The best." If you haven't tried Evermore yet, what are you waiting on? It's a Louisiana product. It's natural artesian water. Cloth and Nuss, of course, bummer. They got bounced from the Paris games today, but they're endorsers of Evermore. Dak Prescott is an endorser of Evermore. They're a major brand with national distribution, and they are a Louisiana product. This is a natural artesian well on the North Shore, right there in Covington. And everything is bottled at the site. So they pipe into the well, pull the water out, goes right through their filtration system just to get, the ground, I guess, out. And then, boom, right in the bottle. It doesn't touch air until you open the bottle. Healthier option, better source of hydration. It's Evermore. Buy online or at great local retailers. Evermore.com. Evermore.com.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh today denied any wrongdoing, knowing, or participating in Michigan's alleged sign-stealing scheme when he was coaching the Wolverines. The Chiefs, making Harrison Butker the NFL's highest-paid kicker, gets a 4-year, more than $25 million extension, nearly $18 million guaranteed, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. As the U.S. men's basketball team gets ready to face off against Brazil in the quarterfinals of the Olympics tomorrow, they're leaning into their mantra, keep it simple, stay with your identity. The Americans 3-0 in Paris, 3 different leading scorers in each game, 10 players averaging at least 7 points a game. Point guard Steph Curry.
Everybody has to be ready for your moment whenever it is, and I think that's it's a challenge because, again, you don't know from quarter to quarter, from game to game, who it's going to be. And yeah, it's a fun way to play if you're bought into, like, let's just win the basketball game. After that, who cares what it looks like?
Baseball Braves righty Reynaldo Lopez put on the injured list with right forearm inflammation.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
So, and Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Get some more reaction from LSU camp today. Media got about 90 minutes. Gave you a full camp report to start the show. Reset some of it. Let you hear from the players afterwards. Brian Kelly meets with reporters Tuesday. Joe Sloan on Wednesday. He's got a ton of purple and gold. But as we begin hour number 3 here, let's do as we've done all throughout Saints camp. We'll board our friend Ross Jackson from Locked On Saints. And, of course, joining us with LouisianaSports.net. We're excited about that. Ross, how are you, man?
Hey, buddy, doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. Hey, I want to start with the quarterbacks, in particular with Jake Haener being absent today. As we all know, he's having the procedure for the skin cancer on his face. We certainly hope everything goes great. But it felt like that was an opportunity for Rattler to get a whole bunch of reps. How did he do?
He had a whole bunch of reps he got. They split those reps between Derek Carr and Spencer Rattler, and I thought Spencer Rattler had one of his more impressive days of camp, maybe his most impressive one so far. Really took advantage of those additional reps that he was given. Did a really good job moving with the football. He's so sort of, fluid in that area of the game, and the Saints want to move the quarterback quite a bit. Looked really comfortable in terms of that. And then sort of the, big thing that happened during practice today was the team kind of running this 1 minute, 15-second drill, end of game scenario down 2, trying to get in the field goal distance. And Spencer Rattler performed well, got the team down there, only one incomplete pass in the process, and ended up getting the team in position for a 46-yard field goal, which unfortunately Blake Grupe missed. But it was still a good day for Spencer Rattler, and it was a great drive for him as well.
Blake Grupe missed the 46-yarder, huh?
Yeah, missed a 46-yarder today, and then also missed another 40-plus yarder at an earlier point in practice. He was 8 of 10 today, now 41 of 47 so far over the course of training camp. And today, by the way, was the first time that Dennis Allen referred to the kickers, him and Charlie Smith, who came in the international player program, as a competition. So I thought that was pretty indicative of where things lie right now in terms of the kicking game.
Bro, if it was Sean Payton, he'd already brought in 4 kickers. Man.
Oh yeah.
The way he
100%.
cycled through them. Hey, I also noticed that Dallin Holker took some reps with the ones. Ross, was that out of necessity, or has he earned those reps?
No, he's definitely earned those reps. He's been with the first team a lot throughout training camp. Was there during a bit of OTAs as well. They clearly really like where Dallin Holker is. I imagine that if this team does put out an unofficial depth chart ahead of their preseason game, that Dallin Holker will be the third name on the tight end list behind Juwan Johnson and Foster Morrow, assuming they have to list Juwan Johnson. They might not have to, but in any case, that's kind of where Dallin Holker has been nestled in. He has made some plays. Yesterday, he was a big-time standout in terms of run and pass blocking, which is the thing that he's working on right now, but he is a great asset as a pass catcher. Not the tallest tight end, guys like 6'5", 6'6", like Michael Jacobson, for instance, but he's 6'3". The thing that makes a difference, though, is that he had the longest arms amongst all tight ends in this year's draft class, and so he really has this big catch radius, and the quarterbacks are very, very comfortable with him, from Derek Carr down to Spencer Rattler and Jay Painter.
Yeah, they paid him $235K as an undrafted free agent, which was the most of any undrafted free agent this year. So, yeah, I mean, that's putting your money where your mouth is. They clearly do like him. It was $235 guaranteed. From a UDFA to a former first-round pick, Dennis Allen kind of glowed today about Brian Brzee, which I thought was nice to see. What can you tell us about the camp Brzee's had so far?
Yeah, Brzee's had a really nice one. I think the thing that I'd like to kind of acknowledge that Brzee has added to his game is that when he can't get to the quarterback, he immediately gets his hands up. He's batted down, I think, 3 passes already here over the course of training camp. And that is one of those things where you're always looking for, as a young player, especially on the defensive line, but as a young player coming in, you're trying to look at, okay, what can I add to my game? What can I do that will help me stand out? And that has been a big focus of his, and he's been really successful with it so far. He had 4.5 sacks his rookie season, which is really good coming from the interior of the defensive line. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. He missed a couple of practices earlier this week with a foot injury. He is, though, one of the rare stories for the New Orleans Saints of them actually getting someone back from injury as opposed to losing someone from injury. And so he's had some really nice practices since he's been back. He's looked good throughout training camp, and he's been a pretty stout presence, both in first and second team, rotating all over the place. I think him, Colin Saunders, and Nathan Shepard have all shown, all 3 of those guys going into their second year with the team. All 3 of those guys have shown some major leaps forward from where they were at training camp this time around.
Ross Jackson's with us, Locked on Saints podcast. Make sure you are subscribed on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. Of course, joining us as well with LouisianaSports.net. Excited for that launch coming up here very, very soon. I want to flip it and ask about the offensive line, which maybe probably should be asking more about, Ross, but it feels like I'm just avoiding the topic. I mean, through here a couple of weeks of camp, places that they've made maybe the positive spin, places that you could tell they've made progress?
Yeah, I think so. I think there are some places where they've made progress. I think Taliese Fuaga is going to be really good. I think that he is just one of those guys where the things that he can do well aren't indicative of or aren't dependent, on how good or bad a defensive line is on the other side of him. What I mean by that is that things that, like, his hand placement, the power with which he anchors, the power with which he punches, those things aren't dependent upon how good or bad a defensive lineman is across from you. Those are things that are easy to evaluate because they're traits-based, right? And so you can see all of those things that are a part of what he does. I think he is firmly solidified at this point. It's pretty safe to say he'll be the starting left tackle for the team. And if you can get the left tackle right, the blindside protector, and you can get the center right, which they've already gotten right in Eric McCoy, then your offensive line is, typically speaking, in pretty good shape. You just have to be able to put together a couple of C-level, B-level players outside of that. And I think they can find those guys. Demetrius Ruiz is above that. But then you look at Trevor Penning, who had a pretty nice day today. The entire offensive line had a solid day yesterday. on Sunday as well. But that was a day where they were out of pads. It felt like the defensive line was kind of taking it a little bit easy. Today, it didn't feel that way. They were back in pads. Everything was a little bit more fiery. The emotion was up, all those other things. So I thought that both of the tackles had a good day today. I just want to see if Trevor Penning can build on that. I expect we'll see both of those guys getting some action in the preseason.
Ross, give me some perspective on, okay, so Taliesin Fuanga, starting left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
We know going into last year at this point, Penning was penciled in as the starting left tackle, and it didn't go so good. So give me some perspective on how you would either compare or contrast where Penning was a year ago, where Fuanga is today at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that I would say is that even going into and through training camp, Trevor Penning was still splitting those left tackle reps. There were, guys like Landon Young and others that were kind of moving in there and kind of getting some opportunities there. Taliesin Fuanga has not surrendered any first-team reps to anybody outside of when they extended him. You can tell that there are days where they kind of have him, they want him to go up against different edge rushers. And so, they'll make his day a little bit lighter with the first team so that he can play more with the second team and go up against some unfamiliar guys in that way. And so you'll certainly see some situations like that where somebody else rotates in at left tackle. But for the most part, Fuanga has owned that spot. And I think the other thing, too, is that you're not watching Fuanga lose rep after rep after rep after rep, which for a little while, that's what was going on with Trevor Penning. Things did not look good for Trevor Penning throughout training camp. Things looked to be projecting well for Taliesin Fuanga. So as long as he's able to translate what he's doing here in practice into real game situations, which we begin to get a little bit of a look at later on this weekend as they head to Arizona for their first preseason game, then I think that he's going to be in a better position now starting out at left tackle than where Trevor Penning was last year with his second year about to go into left tackle.
No doubt, man. I mean, look, if you nailed your first-round pick and it's your left tackle, that's a huge win for this team.
Yeah.
Great transition as well with the game Saturday against Arizona. So, Ross, walk us through the schedule for the rest of the week. Practice, walkthroughs, off-day, travel day. How does that all work this week?
Yeah, so for this week, what they'll do with the game being on Saturday, they will practice. They'll be off of practice tomorrow on Tuesday. They'll practice Wednesday and Thursday being back in pads, and then they'll travel on Friday for the game. So Friday's the travel day to get to Arizona. And then, be able to kind of put it all together to see what it's going to look like once they get there. They'll do some walkthroughs as well in the afternoons. And then with the day off tomorrow, that's where the coaching staff is really going to set in. All right, what's the game plan going up against the Arizona Cardinals? How much, if any, of the offense do they want to show? What's the rotation for some of these players, and how do we evaluate the players going into the game to figure out who needs snaps, who wants snaps, things like that. And so they'll worry about all that kind of stuff tomorrow and kind of divvy it out all throughout based on what they learn Wednesday and Thursday in practice.
Ross Jackson, Locked On Saints podcast and LouisianaSports.net. Get him on Twitter, X, at Ross Jackson Nola. You're the best. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Take care. Stay safe. I'll talk to you here soon.
I mean, be well. Good stuff from Ross Jackson there. I'm excited about Fuanga. It doesn't feel like it's a forced feeling on Fuanga. It feels like he's actually earning that left tackle job. Hey, we're brought to you by Supper Club. It's Monday, which means they're closed. Of course, Supper Club open every Tuesday to Saturday. So this is a great opportunity to take a glance at your calendar and look ahead, especially if you're planning a Christmas or holiday party. Remember, Supper Club, if you want the private dining room, dozen people, you can go host in there in the private dining room at Supper Club. If you want to rent out the entire building for your party, you can do that as well. But the thing I would encourage you is don't wait, because you're going to blink. We're going to be in the throes of football season, and you're going to go, it's October. Let's book our Christmas party. And it's going to be too late. So reach out to Supper Club today. Get to the website, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. You're looking to book that party. Supper Club, eager to host it this Christmas and holiday season. supperclubbtr.com. And they'll be back open again tomorrow, serving up the best dinner you can find anywhere, not just in Baton Rouge or Louisiana, but among the best in the country. When you talk about some of the rare steaks and other offerings that they have, the new menu items, I'm telling y'all, I still dream about that veal parm. Trust me, you can't go wrong with anything on the menu at Supper Club. Supperclubbtr.com. Supperclubbtr.com. We came into camp, and the single biggest question for the Saints, of course, was offensive line, because you were replacing three starters, and you likely starting a a rookie at left tackle? And could you salvage Trevor Penning at right tackle? And is Nick Saldiveri going to win the job at left guard? Or is it going to be Lucas Patrick, one of those veterans? I mean, just so many questions abound. I mean, I hate to make like a college to pro analogy, but think about one of the reasons why we're so confident about LSU's offense, despite losing Daniels and Neighbors and Thomas and Denbrock. Like, why we're so confident? You got arguably the best offensive line in football. You're going to be able to run the ball, and you're going to protect your quarterback. Like, if you have that, it lifts everything else. The Saints are in the opposite position. Like, you're thin at receiver. You've been injured at running back. Your quarterback has been a point of contention, obviously. New offensive coordinator. Well, and you're replacing 3 of your 5 starters on the offensive line, and of the 2 you got, one of them is Cesar Ruiz. Like, it would be so much more. It would give you so much more confidence going into the season if you knew, boom, your left tackle's locked in, Fuang is going to be great. And McCoy at center, boom, your battery's good there. And, Lucas Patrick's been a good veteran player. If he's your left guard, boom. Now all of a sudden you piece together that line and it starts to feel better. Now your real question is just, can Penning stick at right tackle? And if not, then you got a big question on your hands and how you manage that. But if so, maybe you got something. All right, it's after further review. Thanks to Ross Jackson. Man, we appreciate it for making time with us all throughout camp. To do those reports. Make sure you're subscribed to Ross's podcast, Locked on Saints. And whenever we go live with LouisianaSports.net, Ross will be anchoring and leading our Saints coverage. So we're really looking forward to that. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. We'll switch back to LSU. After practice today, Will Campbell, Greg Penn, Jacobian Guillory, Kyron Lacey all met with reporters. A few of the takeaways and recapping sort of some of my notes that empty the notebook from today's practice out at LSU. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen Air Airline, LA16 in Dedham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local over at Clegg's Nursery. Hey, look, the weather outside, it's 96 degrees right now at 516. The heat indexes have been obnoxious, and I know that makes it very, very tough for a lot of your flowers and your plants. Hey, if you need horticultural tips, go ask our friends at Clegg's Nursery. You want plants and flowers that'll thrive in this sort of arid climate, this tropical climate, they'll know which ones, and they'll have the selection. By the way, at Clegg's, they're not buying flowers from other states and shipping them in on a box truck. They're grown here, so it's acclimated to Louisiana, so they're going to thrive here. It's at Clegg's Nursery. And they got all the accessories that you need as well. So you know what to do. Buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
The whole offense is different. This whole team is different. We have a new identity. We lost those guys, so we're gonna have to step up, make some plays. We're talented enough to where we can just pick up where we left off at.
Kyron Lacey, after practice on Monday, meeting with the reporters, had the number one offense in America a year ago. He said, we got a new identity, but we're talented enough to pick up right where we left off. And as we've said throughout this camp and really throughout the offseason, I don't know that I believe LSU is going to be the number one scoring and number one total offense in America again, but I do think they're going to be really good. As evidence, it is this receiver group. I told you after our first day of availability on Thursday, the offense had their share of wins. The defense made some nice plays, but in the 2 different 7-on-7 sessions that we got to see, Chris Hilton wasn't targeted one time. And by the way, that's not a knock on Chris Hilton. It's just Shelton Sampson made great plays, and Kyron Lacey made great plays, and Trey'Dez Green made plays. And I mean, it was just, we saw a deep touchdown to a Kylan Billiot. I mean, it was just, it felt like every snap, it could be somebody else. Well, today, when they're running that team period, the 2-minute drill period for team, the very first play, Garrett Nussmeier goes deep down the right sideline for Chris Hilton, who burned Juwan Johnson. Major Burns, was playing star, is out. And so Juwan Johnson, the freshman, was filling in for Major Burns with the ones at star, and Chris Hilton just dusted him. I mean, it's just kind of an embarrassment of riches. I know you lose Neighbors and Thomas, and I don't mean that it doesn't matter because Malik Neighbors is LSU's all-time leading receiver, and Brian Thomas is the first-round pick, and they're awesome. He led college football receiving touchdowns last year. Of course they matter, but my goodness, you just got a whole bunch of players. Like, here was Kyron Lacey talking about Chris Hilton after practice today.
Chris been doing an outstanding job. Like, that's one guy I can say, like, he really does the little things right. And I'm going to keep overemphasizing the little things because all the details matter. So Chris been doing a lot of on and off the field great things. Come in early, first person there, last person to leave. He puts in a lot of work. So none of that goes unnoticed.
He's going to get his targets. I think Chris Hilton's going to have a really good year. I know one of my big takeaways last year in fall camp was the progression that Chris Hilton had made. It was so evident last year, just physically, his ability, his playmaking ability a year ago. But just look at the depth. I mean, he was at best your number 4. It just wasn't enough reps to go around for him to make a massive impact. Now, him there with as the 1-2 punch with Kyron Lacey, and you add C.J. Daniels in there as well, and Shelton Sampson, and Xavier Thomas, and the freshman I just mentioned. It's impressive what they have there. We did see today, oddly, I shouldn't say oddly, just what they did today, a ton of, in the team periods, screens and running plays. Like, as I look at it, you don't need to remember this or anything, but like in the team period, this was how. So the first team went up. It was a running play, a screen to Josh Williams, a toss to the left side, a rush up the middle from John Emery, a draw to John Emery, a wheel route to John Emery. The twos went in, and A.J. Swan was first. Run to Caleb Jackson, zone read to Caleb Jackson, check down to Caleb Jackson. Caden Durham took a handoff to the left side. Then Ricky Collins went in, running play, give up the middle to Josh Williams, and then there was a bad snap. Like, that's just what they worked on today. It was screens, and it was draws and runs. So I don't know that necessarily this offense is going to have just a glut of those things in it. It was really just what they worked on today. And Kyron Lacy was asked about that after practice.
Oh, it's going to be a big thing we focus on this year because we're trying to get the ball out fast to the quicker guys, make one man miss, get the ball at Aaron Anderson's hands, Zay. Just get the ball in those guys' hands, let them do what they do with the ball because all we got to do is just block for them and just let them go to work, let them do what they do.
So that's a huge part of it with the great talent at receiver. We've talked plenty also about the offensive line, and Will Campbell met with reporters after practice as well on Monday. Campbell kind of was talking about the diversity in the running game for the offense, and it's kind of what we alluded to. I mean, we saw zone read, and we saw tosses, and we saw sweeps, and we saw base dives, and we saw the screen game. And if you think of it, it does make a lot of sense because what you've taken out of the offense is an 1,100-yard rusher at the quarterback position. And I know sometimes we refer to Jaden Daniels kind of as a crutch, but I don't think it was a crutch. Like, it was a weapon that you were right to use in the manner in which you did. He won the Heisman. You were the best offense in college football. Well, you don't have that, so of course it's going to look different, and that's kind of what Campbell was talking about.
It's a lot more diverse. We're showing a lot more looks, a lot more different things, just throw defense for more curveballs. I mean, last year we kind of, line up. We're just better than you. It was what it was. You knew what was coming, but you still had to stop it, and quite frankly, nobody could. But, this year we're going to line up, and we're going to make you stop us. They're going to know we're coming right at them, and it's going to be in different ways, but they're going to know we're about to run the ball, and we'll see if they can stop it.
LSU's defensive line haven't been able to stop it so far, at least not against the ones. In the reps that I charted earlier in the pass rush reps, for example, and so this was like a one-on-one, but with the whole line lined up, so a defender couldn't just run wide. So like Will Campbell went against Savion Jones, Garrett Dellinger went against Sean Washington, DJ Chester went against Jacobian Guillory. Miles Frazier went against Gio Paez. Emory Jones went against Paris Shand, right? The starters won every rep. It was really impressive. And of all the ones I charted, there were 17 reps. The offense won 12 of the 17. So your depth on the defensive line made some plays against the young offensive line, but your starters were just sort of overwhelming. I do like some of the young offensive linemen, and I think you're going to see them grow and develop and be really good. Some of them had tough days. Ethan Callaway, I don't mean to just spotlight a young guy. I mean, he's like his fourth ever practice. But, like, he had a tough day today. That's going to happen. But Brad Davis is, well, he's the most vulgar coach. Let's put it that way. But he is demanding. And when you hear Will Campbell say, like, they're going to be physical, like you hear him say, here it comes, we're going to line up, come at you, that all is bred from Brad Davis. Like, you can not know nothing about football, stand there for 5 minutes and watch him coaching that position group, and you can just understand, like, they are going to be a tough unit because of the way they're coached. Here was Will Campbell on that standard for Brad Davis.
You know, just the intensity he brings, he tells us every day, he's not going to change the standard for anybody. And, you know, it's not going to change. Nobody feels bad for you. So, you know, it's what's required to, you know, be a part of the O-line here at LSU. It's hard work, you know. Obviously, it's hot, you know, I mean, everybody can see that, but it's what you do whenever it's hot. Can you go out there and, you know, block that out and, you know, go out there and do your job when you're tired, when you're hot, you know, when your body doesn't feel, you know, the best, can you go and get the job done?
It's Brad Davis and it's Bo Davis. Like, that's one of the most, what's the impossible to miss part, just if you have ears, because you're going to hear those two guys yelling. They're loud, they're vocal, they demand a lot. From their lines, Brad Davis has maximized this unit, and Bo Davis is trying to get the defensive line to be a more physical, imposing unit, because they were terrible a year ago, and there's no way around it. Now you got new faces and new bodies, but you're also going to have a new standard. And so when Jacoby and Guillory was talking to reporters, he was asked about both Brad Davis and Bo Davis, and sort of the intensity of those two guys.
I'm so used to it that I like, it's just like, how can I listen to what the message is saying, and now like apply that to my game or whatever I did wrong. Like, because it's like when they're yelling at you, it's not that they're yelling at you; they're yelling at the problem. It's kind of like not a F you or F that. You know what I mean? So in a sense of that. So I think I've just handled both intensities well. And I know when he's getting on them, I know when Bo's getting on Coach Brad is getting on the offensive line, I have to listen to make sure, you know what I'm saying, I can keep up with what they're doing.
I told you, bro. Like. Yeah, I'm trying to say it in as polite and mild and radio-friendly as I can say. You go out to practice, there is no mistaking where those two guys are, because they are loud and demanding, and if there is a position on the field where you want loud, demanding, intense, physical coaches, it's at the line of scrimmage. And LSU's got two really good ones, man. I found myself today, this probably wasn't the most productive way to spend time at practice when you have a limited time and you're taking notes and fine. But I found myself for about 10 or 15 minutes just watching Bo Davis teach technique. They have a drill where there's a hanging bag, like a boxing hanging bag, right? And it's a giant hanging bag, and then there's a GA with an arm pad behind the bag, you hold on to the side, and Bo Davis teaches like a progression of technique, like first a punch, then a punch and a rip, and a swing. Like you could just tell, like there's just such a high level of thought behind what they're doing. Almost like watching Miyagi teach Danielson paint the fence and everything. It's like, all right, now show me wax on, wax off. It's like you do all these different things, and you're arming yourself with different tools in your belt to whenever you're going to need them. They're going to be better coached. They're going to be more technically sound. I don't know that you got any day one or two draft picks on that defensive line. Maybe you do. I don't know if you do, but they're going to be better. How much better, I don't know, but they're going to be better. All right, y'all. It's after further review. Got any reaction? Get it in. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Otter in about 15 minutes. Looking forward to having the Otter back. We'll get a little Otter Locks pick tonight. Get back on track, man. Looking forward to that. Get some of your interaction in. We'll get to emails, tweets, texts when we come back. And just saw some new odds for the Saints in their first 5 games of the year. Not for the season, but odds on the Saints' record through 5 games. I want to delve into that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. And, of course, Rouse's, also your home, once again, for Eagle 98.1 Game Day this year before every LSU game. Hanny and Muse over at Rouse's on Burbank. So whether you're going to Tiger Stadium to tailgate or you're home gating and watching, make sure you make Rouse's part of your game day all season long. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints and of Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Hey, look, you can always get to the website, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Maybe you're heading home from school right now. You need some back-to-school stuff. Of course, back-to-school supplies. You can go find them over at Rouse's. You need to stuff the lunch boxes for the kiddos this school year. Of course, Rouse's can help with that. So go to Rouse's.com or pop into any of the 70-some-odd Rouse's locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, Rouse's. This feels like home.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add mountain.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
104.5 ESPN and Citizens Bank and Trust are looking for the ultimate tailgate. Snap a picture of your setup and upload it to 1045ESPN.com for a chance to win a $500 Rouse's gift card. Our judges will select a winner on August 29th. It's the ultimate tailgate giveaway from Rouse's Market, Citizens Bank and Trust, and 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Well, sad news to report from the coaching world. Former LSU assistant Steve Kragthorpe has died after a battle with Parkinson's disease. You probably remember Kragthorpe from his time at LSU. He was hired in 2011 to be the offensive coordinator, and developed Parkinson's, and so had to step down from that role. Now, he stayed on staff and coached quarterbacks, but that's when Greg Stadrawa was elevated from offensive line coach to OC, and in 2011, LSU had that magnificent season, as we all remember. And Stud would stay in that role for another season in 2012 before he moved on, and then that's when Cam Cameron, of course, came in. But Steve Kragthorpe, the LSU job was the last coaching job he would have. Prior to LSU, he was a head coach at Tulsa, where he took over an awful program and led them to 3 bowl games. They won a Conference USA championship. After that, he was the head coach at Louisville for 3 seasons, and then was after his time at Louisville ended after 2009, when he was fired, he was out of football for 2010 and then was hired at LSU in 2011. And I remember that very well. I mean, I was young on the beat, but covering LSU at that time. And getting Kragthorpe as the OC felt like a major coup because you had this guy that had NFL experience, was a very experienced play caller, and had been a head coach. And one of the things Les Miles, for all of his flaws or whatever flaws people want to talk about, one of the things Les did exceptionally well was hire. He hired great assistants. And Kragthorpe was one of them, of course. And we just never got to see what that Kragthorpe offense was going to look like at LSU because, unfortunately, he developed Parkinson's and then retired. But here, just at the age of 59, Steve Kragthorpe has died, dying on Sunday night. I first saw the news from from Football Scoop. I'm not sure if they were the first to have it. I'd like to give proper attribution, but in any event, Steve Kragthorpe, dead at the age of 59. Young guy. I know a lot of. I'm sure T-Bob will have some thoughts on this tomorrow if you can catch off the bench. T-Bob was on that team in 2011. It was his senior year when Kragthorpe came in and was obviously, I'm sure has that perspective. Having been in the locker room when they learned their coach was sick and stepped down from that OC role, and then Stud was elevated and all that stuff. It was an interesting time at LSU, no doubt, but. Here, more than a decade later, Steve Kragthorpe has died at the age of 59. So may he rest in peace, and certainly our prayers, our condolences are with Kragthorpe family and those that knew him and loved him. I can't say that I had ever had really a personal interaction with Steve Kragthorpe other than, when he was hired being at a press conference. I mean, that was probably it. But man, 59 years old. Condolences, sincere condolences to Steve Kragthorpe's family. All right, it's after further review. I'll just clumsily transition from that. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, First South Farm Credit can help because First South Farm Credit has helped Louisianians buy land for more than 100 years. Since 1916, that's the thing they do, and they do it better than anyone else. Why call First South Farm Credit? Well, if you got an issue with your roof, you call a roofer. If you got an issue with your plumbing, you call a plumber. If you want to buy land, you call First South Farm Credit because since 1916, all they do is help Louisianians buy land. So go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com, and also that patronage refund, y'all. They are a cooperative, and they share their profit with their members, with their borrowers. So it effectively lowers your cost of borrowing. So if you have a 4% rate, you get your patronage refund, it's effectively like having a 3% rate or so on. So learn more at firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review, and we are glad to have you aboard with us here. Otter will be here for Otter Locks, something we haven't been able to do in a couple of weeks since before SEC Media Days. We haven't seen Otter. So sportsbetting.ag has updated odds for the first 5 games of the NFL season. So effectively, you can bet on anything, but what they've done is they put out odds for what is the likely record through 5 games. And so remember, the Saints really had better get that first one because they get the Carolina Panthers first, but after Carolina is where it gets sticky for New Orleans. You got Carolina at Dallas, home against Philly, at Atlanta, at Kansas City on Monday Night Football. It's brutal. I mean, you had better get that first one or potentially risk starting 1-4. Now, I think you can beat Atlanta, but that's a road game, and I don't know what they're going to be with Kirk Cousins, so we'll see. For what it's worth, you want to take a guess betting odds? What do you think the betting odds are? Or not necessarily the odds. What do you think the favorite would be? How many wins out of the first 5 that I just mentioned? Again, it was Carolina, at Dallas, Philly, at Atlanta, at Kansas City.
2.
Paulie?
I'm going 1.
It was 2. So it's still plus money, plus 175, but 2, and then you're right, next was 1. So essentially the odds at plus 225, the odds are saying the Saints are either going to be 2-3 or 1-4 through their first 5. And we'll have to start looking at metrics of if you do, so we all know, like, if you start 1-4, the odds of making the playoffs are dramatically lower. But next would be 3 wins. What's interesting is the odds of the Saints starting 0-5 is plus 800. The odds of the Saints starting 4-1, plus 800. They have the same odds of going 0-5 or 4-1. Basically saying both are equally unlikely is effectively what they're saying. Then 5-0 is plus 3,300. So effectively saying they're not going to be winless, but they're also not going to be 4-1 at that point. It's just a matter of where can they fall in between. And I know as we talked about the Saints schedule, so much of it is just keep your head above water, because there's that stretch, that brutal stretch, but kind of when you look to the end of the schedule, it's manageable. You're at the Giants, you got the Commanders, you have to go to Green Bay in December, but then you get the Raiders at home and you're at the Bucs. So in those last 5, it's plausible that you could finish 4-1. But can you keep it together in the open to manage the middle part of the schedule where you're at KC, Tampa, Denver on Thursday, at the Chargers, at the Panthers, Falcons, Browns, Rams? Like, it's nobody's NFL schedule is easy. I mean, every NFL schedule is hard, but it's about finding your way to navigate the landmines to make it manageable, to give yourself a chance late in the season. And I think so much of that's really going to depend on what Atlanta is. It was interesting last week. We were talking about with the handicapper from ESPN, so effectively thinks that Atlanta runs away with the division as an 11 or 12-win team. If that's the case, then the Saints are playing for nothing at the end of the season. But if it's something like we've seen the past couple of years in the division, where potentially 9-8 may win you the division, well, just make sure you're in that final month, you're still within striking distance. But sportsbetting.ag has the Saints' best odds, starting at 2-3 through 5 weeks. And quite honestly, I take it, because it means you win the home game against Carolina, and then you're probably upsetting someone along the way. If it's at Dallas, if it's Philly, if it's at Atlanta, I don't think you're winning it at Arrowhead on Monday Night Football, but you'd have to pull an upset somewhere along the way to get to 2-3. And if you're 2-3, that would feel manageable in the middle to get you to the point of the final month where you got a shot. All right, it's after further review. Been a really good show. Of course, Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. We always appreciate Brandon, Holly, and the gang over there at Relief Windows. Energy efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all. Oh, yeah, they do indoor shutters as well. All right, let me knock out our final break of the show, y'all. We'll come back. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks, find out what we're betting on tonight. We'll get to what we learned. One segment to go and still a lot to do. So let's get to it next on AFR.
AFR.
96 degrees. 96 degrees at 6 p.m. You know what I'm doing when I get home? Go and jump in my pool. It makes being outside in the summer in Louisiana manageable. If you've dreamed of that backyard paradise, that outdoor oasis, Duplessis Builders can help. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. Remember, at Duplessis Builders, you got to understand, they are building a premium product. They are not cutting corners. They're not going to skimp on material or process to save a buck. They'd rather pass on the business than build something that is of substandard quality. Derek Duplessis, his background's in engineering degree from LSU, mechanical engineering, minor in aerospace engineering, worked as an engineer, pivoted, now builds pools, builds beautiful pools that last with a 10-year workmanship warranty. It's DuplessisBuilders.net. DuplessisBuilders.net.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here in a Monday edition of AFR. I got a text from Heath Savoy on the show text line. Bo and Brad Davis. Sounds like you and T-Bob on Whiskey and Wine. Give me my sound effect.
The rim shot?
Yes.
Oh.
Come on.
I didn't really think, okay.
That's so good. It's so true. Well,
with less.
There's a difference between just being vulgar and being crude. T-Bob's just crude a lot of times. This is just vulgar.
That's where I was gonna go. That's what I was gonna go with. There's probably less references made by.
Bip. All right, Otter Locks, hit it.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
Doth my eyes deceive me? Could it be? Hath Otter returned from Delmar? What's up, Otter?
Yes, sir. Good to be back, boys.
No, it's not. Stop lying. If you could just saddle up in Delmar for the rest of your days, I'm guessing that would be an ideal scenario as opposed to talking to me right now.
No. In the fall, I'll be in the deep south for college football season. So,
all right, fair enough.
Yes, indeed. So, light schedule in Major League Baseball. A few games already underway. Big note tonight, first of all. NOLA and Glasnow tonight.
Yeah.
Phillies and the Dodgers. Both teams have been struggling lately, but both are kind of getting back. Philly is completely healthy in their lineup. Again, they avoided a sweep yesterday and got out their offensive slump, but they are locked and loaded, ready to go. And Freddie Freeman returns. He is back. His 3-year-old son is out of the hospital back home, still doing a lot of rehabilitation. But he is back, and he will have a friendly welcome from the crowd at Chavez Ravine. Don't really have an opinion there, but just you got to know that Freeman is sorely missed in that lineup, especially with Betts out as well. We're going to start with one in Major League Baseball. Kansas City, hottest team in baseball right now, man, and maybe the hottest player in baseball right now, Bobby Witt Jr. They steal one yesterday down to their last out, getting shut out in Detroit 2-0. 2-out, 3-run homer. and they win 3 out of 4 in Detroit to keep it rolling. Brady Singer, former Florida Gator right-hander, is very steady, below 3 ERA for starting pitcher. That's rare these days. And against Boston and Paxton coming over from the Dodgers. Okay. Boston's been much better on the road this year. They're usually much better at home because of the extreme dimensions of their ballpark. They know how to play it, and they're used to it. But not tonight. Kansas City minus a small number, the Royals against the Red Sox. And they got a basketball play for you tomorrow, 11 a.m. We'll take the Francais home team plus the 8 tomorrow.
All right.
That game against Canada.
Let's see. All right, France plus 8. All right. I can't tell you I've watched a minute of Olympic basketball, Otter. I hate to admit that, but I'm not the hugest Olympic guy.
Yeah, I've been, my schedule's obviously been compromised.
One minute remaining.
All right, so we got KC on the money line, minus 130 in France, plus 8 tomorrow in Olympic basketball. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We are at Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee.
Very good. Have a great show. Glad you're back, man. Looking forward to talking tomorrow.
Glad to be back. See you.
All right, that is Jimmy Ott. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Y'all, weather came through this weekend, knocked power out at our home. We were in New Orleans, thankfully, but mother-in-law was at home with Drew. You know what happened as soon as our power went out? Boom. Our Generac automatic home standby generator powered on. Y'all, don't go another day risking. Call Optimize today or log on to GeneratorPeople.com, servicing the entire 1012 corridor. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com, Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer. Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com. All right, Views, Paulie, appreciate it. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
All right, as we get on down the road, I'm writing about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. Locations all over South Louisiana. If you need tires, you might as well buy the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. That's Shawbills. So go to ShawbillsTire.com, hit the promotions tab there at the top. You can see all the dealer specials they have going on, and one of the things Shawbills does amazingly well is take the manufacturer's offer and partner it with their own in-house offer to get you the best price possible on the best tires on the road. As a matter of fact, they guarantee it. Buy tires at Shawbills, find them advertised somewhere cheaper, they'll refund you 125% of the difference. That's part of the Charlie's Dozen, a dozen benefits extended to you and your family when you buy tires at Shawbills. Yes, tires ain't fun. Buy them at Shawbills. They'll treat you like family, and you'll keep coming back year after year after year. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.